KTFM Floresville. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, your home for the Aggies. San Antonio's Sports Center.
In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs failed in their comeback against the Orlando Magic. They end up losing 108-98, though they were way down and made a good fight to come back, but the end was as usual. Devin Vassell had 26. Wemby gave 21. The Spurs get ready for the Pelicans tomorrow night. On the coaching front, Dan Quinn's still waiting on the Commanders. We're talking about it.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 100% satisfaction guarantee.
This is R&R in the morning.
Man in motion, handoff, Pollard coming right. Bang, zoom, touchdown Cowboys.
Right, Binyama about 3 feet behind the line. Got it.
It's R&R in the morning with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Huddle up around us. That's RJ Ochoa, the acknowledged and world-renowned managing editor of Blogging the Boys. I'm Rob Thompson, the king of his doghouse, and on the other side of the double-pane glass sits comfortably in an ugly color of orange, Easy E. Edwin Hafner. Glad to see everybody this morning. How are you this morning? RJ, by the way, that is a fetching polo you have today. You look good.
You look solid. That's a good looks like a good bowling shirt that you're wearing.
It's a sweater. It's a sweater. Crazy. It's like a short sleeve button-up sweater.
It just
I
looks,
love it. It's kind of mid-weight.
If you were like, this is the bowling uniform for my bowling team,
yeah.
I would completely believe you.
I'm a terrible bowler. I bet you're a decent bowler.
I need the bumpers. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I want to wish you a happy Thursday.
Thank you. Small Friday in our world.
Well, I want to wish you a happy February. Don't mess up right in the date. Don't get caught, with the 1 in the front. We've all adjusted finally to the 24. Don't start the date written off.
I want to ask a question of those that are listening of an age. And this is one of those separator things for many of us in the world.
This will be great.
Because you needed to know the date. Hey, appreciate you, Rudy. Keep that thumb on it all morning long. There's always something good about to happen.
Okay.
As a man of 57, there was a time in my life where knowing the date was you had to know it every day. You know why? You had to write a check. There was at some point during the day, every day, I wrote a check. For whatever it was, I had to know the date. Now you don't even know the date. You don't have to, it's automatically on everything I do. The date's just already there. One of those great benefits of modern
Are you saying
technology.
that you walk around sometimes not knowing what day it is?
Not anymore. It's in front of me. Used to, you didn't have ready and available dates unless you had a watch with something there, or you had a big, you were in front of your paper calendar. You didn't know what day it was. There wasn't an internet or a phone to look at.
You don't have a conscious understanding of what the date is, though, at all times, is what I'm asking.
I know the date, the time, and what direction I'm facing at all times.
But
I'm like a nervous cat.
Then why would it? This is a weird take. This is a weird.
No, I was just, you were like, notice the date. And I was like, oh yeah, it's February the 1st. We're used to, I would be like, what day is it? I would have already needed to know by this time in the morning.
What is giving you knowledge?
What do you do when you open your eyes after you do a self body check and see if that check engine light hadn't come on? When we all have it, we wake up and go, everything good? All right, let's progress. Move my feet. Do you at that moment go, it's February the 1st? What moment do you?
It's not like in my immediate mental processes, but I think at a certain point, like
I'm
if I
curious.
was brushing my teeth and I was, in my head
brushing
kind
your
of going
teeth
through things. What's happening today? Oh well, it's Thursday. We have a couple of special guests on the show.
I know
it's
Thursday,
February 1st.
See, I'm more about the day than the date because days have more importance to me.
If somebody had asked you and said, "What's today's date?" before I said, what I did, Happy February. How long would it have taken you to
Actually, RJ? As I come in the morning, I have a process because I've got about a 35-minute drive. So I get in the morning. The first thing I do is check to see if we have any, in the business, we call it the audio. I check to see if I've got any sound to reflect upon, whether it's something that James has offered or Edwin's thrown up or whatever it might be, or you put up, and I listen to that. And then I turn it off and I press my Google Voice thing.
A-track.
No, my Google Voice thing so I can talk. And then I start sounding off ideas. And like this morning, honestly, I had a list of things that I was going to do. I already knew what we were going to talk about, but things kind of change by when you go to sleep at 10, or try to anyway. Things might have changed. So I had some ideas. And one of them was, it's February 1st. Maybe we should talk about what the month means, how short it is, things that go on in February, that we should reflect upon the fact that it is a new month. So I actually had thought about that. It was February 1st, though it is not something I do every day.
I think you've taken this in a weird direction. I do think that you should answer the question in the chat from Rudy Gonzalez.
Yes. What is that?
Do y'all still use manual toothbrushes, or have you switched to the battery operated electric?
There's
some chargeable ones, not necessarily just battery operated, but
I'm
team manual. I want kinetic energy involved.
I travel with manual at home. I am an avowed electric. It's a Sonicare.
So you're pretentious. That's what you're trying to
No, dude, once you go I could have gone someplace, but I'm not going to do it. As many people listening can attest.
Do you do the water pick as well?
I got one. I'm not good with that thing. It's like having a fire hose in the bathroom. I leave. You have to be very quick, and it's kind of like a gas clutch thing in the car when you're first learning, because you got to push in the clutch when that thing comes out of your mouth, or it's gonna a sprinkler hazard in your face. So no, I don't do it anymore, because every time I used it, my wife was like, "What the hell went on in here?" I gotta just brush my teeth. I mean, and there's water everywhere. Oh, just water picking.
The Spurs lost.
They did
again.
Oh, I got lost in the comeback. There was a loss at the end of that.
It was a 21-2 run.
Oh,
to hang the banner. But there was also a 17-0 run.
You ruined it for me. When they tied and went to commercial, I just turned it off because I didn't want to know the end. That was enough for me on that night. I just didn't want to know the end, so we lost.
It's
damn it.
Still frustrating. Incredibly. Although, Devin had a nice night. Jeremy had a nice night.
Are you a moral victory kind of guy?
No, I am a moral loss kind of guy, to be clear.
I do need clarification.
A moral loss is when you win a game but play horribly. Like, it's just.
Do you like that or hate it?
Well, I like that because you get the actual benefit of winning, but you get the lessons and clarity that a loss.
Sometimes I don't think you get the lesson. Sometimes when you lose and you make mistakes and all that, sometimes you go, "Oh, I'm good enough." Next time it'll do better. No, so I've been around teams that the worst thing was that kind of a win.
The hope would be that you obviously take away the lesson.
Yeah,
that's, my thought, but yeah, there's no moral win from last night.
None. Well, in my mind, that's why I facetiously talk about turning the TV off. In my mind, something was accomplished last night. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to go with the corporate line of incremental growth above W's and L's, that there was something accomplished last night on the heels of something else. We'll talk about it a lot today.
Three-pointers? Is that it?
Well, keep in mind, it was, gosh, I have got to come up with a better analogy for what comes to mind when I see the Spurs and the Orlando Magic go at it in a three-point shooting contest, because they're two of the bottom three. I mean, literally the two worst. So you never know what to expect when you see awful things like that.
It's like your electric toothbrush and water pick,
One I can keep under control. Other is just too much for me.
I also, we talked about this briefly last week. Don't wear the black jerseys at home. It doesn't feel right. I don't like it. Don't do that. If you want to wear an alternate jersey, I still am not going to rock with that, but I can accept the justification that you're not wearing white because you're trying to get, your city jerseys or whatever, and you only have so many opportunities. So I'm fine with that. But if you're just wearing the standard black jersey, and I love the standard black
jersey. I would wear it all the time. The one last night I'd wear every day.
No.
I do. I would wear it every day.
If you're at home, wear white.
That's the Spurs right there.
Very simple.
To me, it's that. And I think I've had this discussion before about the home and away. And I like, as a casual viewer, turning on an NBA game and going by the jerseys, the lighter colors obviously at home. So I get an idea immediately who's home and away, and then we'll you know what I mean.
If your brain isn't powerful enough to automatically know the date, you need that color, kind of
yes. And as we age like us old types, and I forget to have my clicker.
You don't
I have to process things in a certain way.
Yes. The dial on the television.
The rabbit ears with the foil.
Stand right there. Don't move.
That's him. If I don't have all that, I do need some cognitive help, some stimulant. But did I interrupt you?
No. Okay. But you should be interrupted yourself because you were going to say that the black jerseys at home are.
No, but I was going to start talking about an old thing again, and as I was about to start talking about it again, I thought I don't want to reinforce the fact
back when
that
they
I'm
made
old.
the jerseys
because
out of
let me tell you why. But when I see for the longest time, if you were a Spurs or any kind of NBA fan, there was this belief that if you broadcast home games, people wouldn't buy tickets. So they didn't. You never. Anytime you ever saw your favorite team, you only saw them on the road if you didn't have the money to go see a Spurs game. So for me, growing up, the only time I ever saw the Spurs, they were wearing black, unless it was the playoffs, because you didn't get to see home games on TV. God forbid they let you watch, because you should be able to go down there and buy the $5 or $10, whatever cheap tickets there are. So for a generation, the only team, when you say Spurs, the picture that pops into my mind is George Gervin taking a jump shot in silver and black. And forevermore, whenever a Spur thing, anything, Tim, David, Avery, Tony, Manu, whatever, it's always in the black jersey.
Yeah. If it's in
no, that's just me. So I don't personally even notice the fact that they're wearing black, because in my mind, that's what they should be wearing, is where I'm going.
Well, they lost in other sports news after you and I last spoke. The NFL saw one of the chairs get filled in the musical chairs game.
Did you
There's
like
only one chair left?
I lit my Washington Commanders divine guidance candle yesterday. I have but one hope left in the offseason for the Dallas Cowboys. And that's for Dan to get a promotion, an Exodus promotion, and give me the blood for which I so desire before the sun comes up. That's all I'm asking.
This would not be blood the way you think. This would be the.
It is for me.
This would be the little kid. Like, I'm so scared to get the shot, and it's the little
you know what? The clock's ticking, baby. And beggars and choosers and all those kind of things are rolling into. By now, you could fire a parking attendant, and I'll go, okay, now we're talking. Somebody paid for this catastrophe. But now
I don't know who's more down bad, Dan himself or the Commanders.
I know,
because they're both, this is just sad. Like,
no one wants to work there. No one wants to work there.
Well, no one wants to do a lot of things. Like, sometimes you feel shame or embarrassment. Micah Parsons can apparently identify with that. Micah Parsons, just like us, Rob, was sad about the way the playoff game went.
You're good. I love Thursdays. I'm having the best time today. Stay with us. Make sure you're tuned in, liked, and thumbed in the appropriate manners, because there is a like tax. Is that it?
That's correct.
I am rolling.
The like tax.
Hey, we're gonna come back. Speaking of embarrassments, with Micah Parsons, he's popping rocks and he is very upset. That's RJ Ochoa. I'm Rob Thompson, and this is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Hey, I got a question for you. Are you a card player, a rounder? Do you like to get in on cash games? If you are, you've probably tried out a card house or two around San Antonio. If you haven't been to San Antonio Card House, that's why you're still looking, right? San Antonio Card House is over on 281 in Bitters. It's right on the east side of 281 in the parking lot over there. Old Luby's, you know where it is. They've got it all fixed up and ready for you card players, and they've got everything you're looking for in the game. So with cash games, they got it. The hours you're looking for, the great knowledgeable dealers and the staff, the comfortable environment, everything you're looking for, the safe environment and the welcoming environment, they got it. So once you go there, you're not going to want to go anyplace else. But here's the bonus of going to a place the quality of the San Antonio Card House. Become a member is easy, doesn't cost hardly anything, and the benefits are remarkable. Once you become that member, you're welcome all the time. You don't have to be a member to go eat, though. The kitchen is phenomenal. We're talking chefs, not cooks. These guys know what they're doing, ladies and guys out back there. It is fine food. You know me, I'm a foodie. That's SA Card House over at 281 in Bitters. Whether you're new to the game, they got things to take care of there, or you know what you're doing. Lots of bonuses. Everything you're chasing, they've got. Go there, and you don't need to look anymore. That's SA Card House. Go there today, and I know you're going to be thanking me later.
The NFL playoffs are here.
Read all about it, baby. One last drive.
Wild card, divisional, conference championship, and Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. Hear it on your exclusive home for the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Hey, poker players, the Big Blind is open. With a true Vegas feel, the Big Blind is the premier poker room in San Antonio, featuring an upscale environment catering to players from all abilities. Whether you are seeking high-octane tournaments or lively cash games, the Big Blind has a game for everyone. The Big Blind at 281 in Redland Road, just down from the Roo Pub, offers daily cash games to daily, weekly, and monthly tournaments. Learn more online at thebigblindsa.com. The Big Blind at 281 in Redland Road.
Nothing says I love you like romantic, timeless jewelry. Even better when you can save an extra 20%. Right now at Diamonds Direct, all fashion favorite jewelry is 20% off. That's earrings, bracelets, pendants, bands, colored gemstone jewelry. Get 20% off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable prices. Special financing too. Get her something she can enjoy and appreciate for years to come. A fashion favorite from Diamonds Direct. Shop in-store or online at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
You've heard the buzz about IT jobs and cybersecurity and AI, right? Why not prepare for a career in these fields and take advantage of the high demand? You could enjoy a more rewarding and recession-resistant lifestyle. Train in just a few short months at My Computer Career. Are you a veteran, active duty military, or already in IT? Skill up for positions employers need to fill. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. That's mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Can I get a weight reading on the cat in exam 3?
Zuri needs a new vet tech after their current one literally moved to a farm. But finding an ideal replacement takes some training.
This is like herding cats.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Schedule virtual interviews and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
Check out the Jim Rome Show, weekdays at noon.
If you're San Antonio, there are benefits that come along with it, and we'll cut you to the front of the line. We're going to hike the return.
On 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Get on up. That's RJ. I'm Rob. If you didn't get the wake-up call, here we are. I like that. As a Cowboy fan, it's been tough. the last couple of weeks. But it's always hard. One of the things about times like this is it does separate them that are on the bandwagon and them that never needed a bandwagon. You know what I mean? You know who your friends are now when you're down at the bottom.
I don't think that we have any friends. I think everybody's just, this is the, everybody's laughing. I mean, everybody's laughing. Everybody's pointing. Everybody's mocking.
I feel like I'm one of those prisoners, like a prisoner of war being marched through a town, and everybody's kind of like standing on the curb. Like I am, yeah, I'm wearing a cowboy shirt. I'm sorry.
I mean,
who I was,
I always think of, different thing, but Cersei in Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Our walk of atonement, our walk of shame. Yeah. Just ring the bell. Shame.
And I think at the bottom of this, some of the anger is the stuff that we're going through. I don't think that the ownership is going through, nor do they care. That my fandom is assumed, expected. That, hey, what do you want for all this? I'm spinning plates behind here. Take this, or, what are you going to do? Go someplace? You're going to be a Texans fan? Seriously? I mean, that's the gist I get. And, as someone who's in the orbit, like, so I get it when players act like.
When they act frustrated, are you saying, or embarrassed, or?
I get it when players act like, if this is the worst thing that ever happens to me, this is their job. This is, you know what I mean? I know it's counterintuitive to this.
That's a common, we just lost a big game line, right? Like, oh, if this is the worst thing that ever happened to me, I've lived a pretty good life. And it's like, dude, no one is contextualizing it that way.
Right.
Like that's, nobody disagrees with you, but this sucks. It's okay to say it sucks.
But there are times when there's this assumed, I don't know where to place what we're about to hear from Micah Parsons in the pantheon of feelings felt by players and what we should feel about players and their feelings. You know what I'm getting at?
Let's hear what he said.
Yeah, so this is Micah Parsons, and keep in mind, this is on his podcast as he says what he's saying.
Obviously, Jordan Love played an unbelievable game, but at the end of the day, we were just outperformed, out-schemed, however you want to put it. Like, they had an answer for everything, and people saying, well, why ain't you go to linebacker? Because, they said you could stop the run. Well, guess what? The packages are in for me to go to linebacker. There's multiple packages, multiple variations, but I can only play what it's called. Whatever they're calling, whoever personnel they're putting on, I'm not putting out personnel. I'm not putting out the calls. Nothing's coming from me. So you could put that and put that wherever you want to be or wherever you want to put it, but they're not coming from me. The packages are in. I've even told multiple players, coaches, that I'm very fine playing linebacker and playoffs if that's what y'all want me to do. I just want to win. And you can ask any coach, ask any player that. It's a God honest truth, because obviously this is not where I want to be sitting right now, speaking to you, talking about what we're doing at the Pro Bowl. And that's just the reality of it. I do see a Super Bowl in my future. I want to be a Super Bowl champion. And it's very upsetting that I'm even here, having to even speak to y'all and trying to say if I really care about the game and if I'm showing up in playoffs. I challenge anyone to actually go look at the game film and say, did Micah play his heart out in that game, and what more could I have done? It's sad, man, that you lose the way you do, especially at home, talking about how much we played at home, how much it stood for us to be at home, and to go out like that at home was completely embarrassing and unacceptable. So, I couldn't even look at that loss or feel any type of way because of how embarrassed I felt. I felt the utmost, man, it was just, honestly, it took me a while to even be able to show my face in the public. I disappeared completely.
That's Micah Parsons on the edge on his podcast yesterday. As I listened to it, RJ, it struck me. I think he went through all 7 stages of grief in that one brief. There was anger, there was bargaining, there was acceptance. there was a lot that went on in that short statement. What'd you get about the first part? About the, hey, I was willing to play linebacker, but I don't pick the packages or the manpower.
I think the idea of playing Micah at linebacker is dumb, to be very clear.
Mm-hmm.
I think this has just become something that people like to say.
I got you.
They just want something to throw out.
Why do you think it's dumb?
Because the edge rusher position is significantly more valuable. That would be like saying, I think we should have CeeDee Lamb play right guard. You know what I mean? Like, let's have him play where he can cause the most or have the most impact. That being said, and this is the oldest I'm ever going to feel what I'm about to say, because I feel like I'm
well, guess what? That's going to change tomorrow.
I'm lecturing a youngin. I didn't hear any ownership. I didn't hear any, any individual responsibility taken, right?
Oh, he played his heart out. Check the tape.
I played my heart out. I told them I'll do whatever. It's on them. The packages are in. And I'm not trying to do Micah called out his teammates and his coaches. I didn't hear it that way, but it did sound like this was not my fault. I had no hand in this. I was ready. I'm willing. I see a Super Bowl in my future. I mean, I think this is the most that Micah has had to deal with, the clown show that the Cowboys can be sometimes. And he did use the word, the embarrassment, because it can be really embarrassing to be a part of the Dallas Cowboys. And he's been on the team for a run of great regular season success. So he really hasn't had to deal with this all too often. He really hasn't had to deal with a shellacking like they got against Green Bay. And so this is his first, I think, kind of humbling in that moment. And it doesn't seem like he has handled it very well. To be fair, none of them have shown their face in public. I mean, and that's not helping. It's not helping that y'all got worked and now y'all just all want to go hide. I mean, you look like you got your tail tucked between your legs, but
maybe they should.
This was just it's another indication of how nothing anyone says this offseason is going to sound good.
I guess that's also the case, because again, I want blood, and maybe the blood is coming in the form of an exodus from Dan Quinn. Now, how that occurs, I quite frankly don't care. Whether the Washington Commanders hire him, or he just decides to go fishing, or he gets some walking papers. I just want someone to pay for what happened last year. We're going to talk about where Dan Quinn might land and some of the stuff that Micah said inside of there, the shame involved, and what comes next in the continuing saga that is the Dallas Cowboys offseason. Hey, don't forget, I got all kinds of stuff to give away today. And when we get done with our next segment, if you will stay in with us for the next 20 minutes, at the end of such things, I'll be giving away the Australian Pink Floyd tickets that I have sitting in front of me. They're coming to the Boeing Techport, beautiful venue, on August the 22nd. I have those tickets. And while you were waiting to see that and have some exciting sports talk radio, go look up the Coriolis effect. Things do spin the other direction in Australia. Coming back, we're looking at the Cowboys. He's RJ, I'm Rob, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
If you miss the Blitz with Jason and Joe, then you miss this.
Wade Phillips joining us here in studio on the Blitz. Business decision versus a winning decision. Is Jerry more about business than winning?
No, he's all about winning. And not anything against other owners, but his bottom line is to win. If there's a player out there that you convince him we need to win, he's going to pay the money to get it.
Right home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
I know a lot of you really want the State Farm personal price plan, but what's with the oversharing? Like this message Mateo left.
Jake from State Farm, you should know orange juice commercials make me cry. I feel bad for the oranges.
You don't need to get that personal. The State Farm personal price plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Now is the best time to buy a Connecticut water softener. With current models being closed out to make way for the new ones, you can save big. Call Connecticut at 656-PURE and tell them Dave Ramsey sent you. That's 656-PURE.
It's the Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rind Appreciation Day celebration. Enter to win $5,000 cash, tailgating prizes, plus Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds when you pass the pigskin. Enter at porkrindappreciationday.com. That's porkrindappreciationday.com. And make sure to pick up the protein-packed bold flavors of Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds today at H-E-B.
Patients everywhere are experiencing joint pain relief thanks to QC Kinetics regenerative treatments. So how does this non-surgical approach work? QC Kinetics Medical Director Dr. Aaron Wolkoff explains.
Is like when you get a paper cut and the cells that come onto that scene first stop the bleeding, and then it recruits more cells to form new skin and new soft tissue. And then you look down a week later, 2 weeks later, and it's like nothing happened and that paper cut never existed.
In this same way, QC Kinetics uses your natural biologics to help repair and restore aching knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
We take those same similar cells in different areas that are arthritic, are painful, and we cause this kind of internal self-healing that can resolve patients' pain.
Relief without surgery. See if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics regenerative treatments.
Call QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-5407. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-5407. That's 800-575-5407. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Nice run. It's great being back out on the mountain. You sort of disappeared for a while. Everything okay?
Between you and me, it was lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, the doc told me once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone, and that can make it harder to stay in shape. That's why I started taking Nugenix Total T. It's made a huge difference.
Oh, I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
For sure. It's the #1 doctor-recommended testosterone booster. It boosts free and total testosterone levels to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. My wife, my boss, my kids, everyone has noticed a change in me.
Do they still give out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yes, just send them a text.
Guys, text CHEST to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone brand at GNC and Walmart. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back in shape fast, absolutely free. Text CHEST to 321-321. That's CHEST to 321-321.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass? Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just text RENEWAL to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for no dollars down, no payments, and no interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Text RENEWAL to 200-300 right now. Text the word RENEWAL to 200-300. Don't wait, text RENEWAL to 200-300.
Hi, it's Jason Minnick. You're listening to the home of the Aggies, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Thank you, Jason. He'll get to work about 2. The blitz gets going then. Hey, while you're sitting there doing nothing but listening to us, make sure you've subscribed appropriately, paid the like tax, and head over to sasportstar.com. There are things you can do there, things that might get you some money. We got a new year, new cash deal that's running out of time. If you want to go win some money, $2,024 to be exact, got to make sure you're signed up at sasportstar.com. And while you're hanging around there, sign yourself up for the golf tournament. It is just around the corner, March the 25th, Golf Club of Texas. You know all the details because you're already there at sasportstar.com. Sign up as soon as you possibly can. RJ, the Washington Commanders have cast a wide net in their search for a new head coach, and now they're the last. We know that the Seahawks hired the youngest current coach in the NFL yesterday, the DC from the Baltimore Ravens. I saw that you like him. McDonald?
Mike McDonald. Yeah, Mike McDonald is really talented, and you look at a big criticism of, just to relate him to the Cowboys in this sense, Dan Quinn he's talked about this. He's gotten worked by his former assistants who are spread out all across the NFL, the disciples of Kyle Shanahan, right? Kyle Shanahan worked him. Obviously, Mike McDaniel worked him. It's really difficult, by the way, to have Mike McCarthy, Mike McDaniel, Mike McDonald, Sean McVay. I mean, like, there's a lot, of a
lot of these Irish dudes running around.
Yeah.
McDaniel, but as good as he is, and a McDonald, gosh, Jim O'Brien somewhere is spinning. McDonald is the youngest coach in the NFL.
Right.
That oldest to the youngest. I don't know what Seattle was searching for. But I don't know how good an opportunity or how long McDonald had been in line to get a job. But I do get the sense that Seattle had an idea who they wanted from the get-go, and they got him. And anybody that was looking at Seattle was probably not going to go to Washington unless they were of a level. I don't think anybody wants this commander job. I don't think anybody wants to go through this transition. So the fact that Dan Quinn is still on the list gives me the sense that he's probably going to get this job.
I think what's important to know quickly about Mike McDonald, this is what I think is holding Dan Quinn back. And because the fact that Seattle did not hire Dan Quinn is significant in my mind, because it has long seemed like Dan was the successor to Pete Carroll. Each of the last 2 years, Dan Quinn took himself out of the running for various head coaching positions. He removed himself from candidacy the way Ben Johnson did 2 days ago. And that's a badass move, right? Like, I'm out, guys.
I know where I'm
good.
going.
I'm good. I'm out. And the presumption always was that Dan was just kind of waiting out Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
And I think we all thought, even as recently as, 2 months ago, that might still happen. But you pee down your leg, over the most important time of the year, and then you get worked in the playoffs, as Micah Parsons alluded to on his podcast, where he said he was embarrassed. Things change. And so Mike McDonald is one of the only defensive minds who can consistently conquer the Kyle Shanahan tree, whereas that is like Dan Quinn's kryptonite. So if you played in a division with Kyle Shanahan, wouldn't you want somebody who could go toe-to-toe with him as opposed to somebody who would just kind of let him do whatever he wanted? But that being said, the Commanders, to your point, they're kind of out of options because Ben Johnson was like the name, he's out. Mike McDonald was like the next name, he's out. Bobby Slowick could have been a name, he's out. Bill Belichick is a name, but doesn't necessarily fit your timeline.
Right.
They kind of needed either Johnson or McDonald to kind of be this young hotshot to go with their new GM, their new kind of refresh of ownership, and whether they do rebrand their franchise. Dan Quinn would feel like it would feel like Indiana Jones swapping out the idol. You know what I mean? For just the same weight.
Well,
you know what I mean?
He could be a placeholder, though, and a name that has a Super Bowl attached. And there's a lot of Cowboy fandom up in that kind of the world that people at least would know the name, whether they become, they cross the street or not. I can get, because he's the only one that's going to do it. This is not, they're trying to build a new stadium. They're still dealing with some old Snyder crap. They might be changing their name. There's a lot going on up there that if I'm a mid-level coach and I'm thinking, I got an opportunity now, but I'll have others. I don't think it's going to go away this year. My iron is still hot. I might wait on this.
So Prime Rob is hot. Everybody wants some Prime Rob, right? They're blowing you up. They're hitting you up. They're sliding into those DMs.
Ooh.
They're saying, hey, Prime, how you been?
They're giving me the big eyes emoji.
Exactly, Kyle Kuzma style.
Mhm.
And so you're a wanted man. All right, your options, and you believe yourself because you're confident, right? Prime Rob walks tall, but you're confident that you're going to be in the mix this time next year as well. Would you rather take the Washington job, which is while there's a lot of resources, is an unknown, and you are rolling the dice on Drake May being your guy,
Mhm.
the Seattle job, which has Geno Smith, definitely a question mark, or be a little patient. You don't have to move, so everybody wins in that sense in the Prime Rob house, because next year, Cowboys job might be available. The Eagles job might be available. Those are both way more advantageous. Like
you're not talking about
Johnson,
Dan Quinn being a potential. Or you're talking about the Ben Johnson of the world.
I'm talking about the top dogs.
I got you.
They're the ones who are saying, you know what, I might hold out because the Washington job is such a role that, like, again, I do think it is an interesting spot because you do have so many resources. You do have an ownership that wants to kind of dance and get involved and, spend. And you do have the second overall pick, but it is so hard to find that quarterback. And again, whether you believe in Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts right now, I think if you could pick any of the teams in the NFC East that aren't the Giants to be the head coach of, Washington would not be at the top of your list. And so you might only get one shot. So you want to marry a quarterback that can help you obviously have some consistency. And you don't have that in Washington right now. So they're at a point, the Commanders are, where Dan Quinn might make the most sense. I mean, because, again, the music's about to stop and everybody has to sit down in one final chair here. And they might just need some. I don't think Dan Quinn has a lot of legitimacy, but he has a pulse of legitimacy. And that might be, who's the other name? Aaron Glenn? I mean, no disrespect. But I mean, that's what they're going to do. They're going to hire Aaron Glenn. That's the big win at this point in time.
Speaking of former Aggies, Damontre Moore's going to join us at 8:30. He's a former Aggie, got an All-American there and played a whole bunch of football, played in the NFL, the Canadian Football League. We're going to talk with him about the situation the Aggies find themselves in. He knows a bit about Seattle and Pete Carroll and all the other things that good Aggies might know. He's going to join us. KJ Wright, good friend of the show, will be here after that. What time does KJ get here? 9:30. Man, busy show. Hey, coming back, we're talking coaching circles. Has anybody blown your socks off with the new hires? Harbaugh seemed expectant. Belichick's still waiting, and everything in between kind of went, What's going to happen in Washington and the ripple effects around the NFL as we head towards Silver and Black Conversations at 7. Hang around closely with us. Go get yourself a breakfast corn dog and relax. He's RJ. I'm Rob, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The Sports Star boys are headed to Vegas for the big game.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
This Monday, Rob and RJ and Jason and Joe are heading to Sin City and Radio Row for the big game with security provided by AA Best Bail Bonds.
Let's go to Vegas. We'll all get drunk and Woo! Think you gonna get away with it? Not up in here. Not up in here.
Powered by AA Best Bail Bonds, Synergenics, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
What's he talking about here? He's talking about Asia.
It wasn't me that started that old crazy Asian war.
I mean, isn't that racist?
No, I think it was a crazy Asian war, was it not? It was indeed.
It wasn't Oriental.
What would make it Oriental?
If they fried it with bell pepper and pineapple and added sweet and sour sauce, that would make it Oriental.
The John Clay Wolf Show, every Saturday morning.
Catch the John Clay Wolf Show, Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon, right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
The Australian Pink Floyd Show, First Class Traveling Set World Tour 2024, August 22nd, Boeing Center at Techport. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. The Australian Pink Floyd Show.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. All backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
At Progressive, we love sports and saving you money, so we bundled them together.
It's 40 love here in the third set.
And there's the bell. She's coming off the bench hot, looking for a quick knockdown. But wait, she's driving to the hoop. Oh, down goes the champ.
Now that's another double fault. She'll be shooting too.
The serve is up. And here comes the left hook. She's bundled her home and auto insurance with Progressive. Swish, ace, savings, TKO.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Don't let pain keep you from doing the things you love. I'm Dr. Jason Garrett from Arasti. At Arasti, we fix pain fast. Whether you've been living with chronic and nagging pain for years, or if you've recently experienced an injury, our goal is to get you out of pain as quickly as possible. Arasti is completely natural and non-invasive. Plus, Arasti accepts most insurance plans. There's a location near you. Visit Arasti.com. That's AIRROSTI.com. Arasti, we fix pain fast.
Super Bowl 58 in Vegas is set. It's the Chiefs and Niners. Hear it right here on your exclusive home 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
He's RJ. I'm Rob. This is your morning guest breakfast kind of stuff going on. We slammed into this again. RJ, I got a question for you. As we went to break, you brought up something a little earlier ago, and now it's rolling all over my socials. Huge news for you F1 fans as we look toward next season. The biggest F1's ever seen is the advent of Porsche. Looks like they're coming in, more teams, more races, more everything. The guy that put them there, the guy that brought them to this situation, Lewis Hamilton on the Mercedes machines for the last, 12, 13, 14 years?
12 years.
12 years. And world champion for 10 of those consecutively, is changing rides, jumping to Ferrari. Guy lives a tough life. Taking Carlos Sainz machine.
Our buddy Mark Schofield does a great job writing about F1 for SBNation.com, and is already all over this. So great job, Mark. But I think it's 7 titles in a row. I think
was it 7?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah. Well, Max Verstappen has ruined everything. I mean, it was just like crushing.
No, he was
all
needed.
over the place.
He was.
But yeah, Lewis Hamilton. I mean, kind of the Tiger Woods of F1. I mean, in a lot of ways, like the early dominance and just kind of made the sport boring. And so the fact that he's leaving in general is pretty shocking.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's going to Ferrari is pretty shocking. But yeah, so this is set to be, if you don't watch F1, whoever you are, first of all,
get there, watch it.
Well, I love you, whoever you are. I think Rob does, but I can't speak for him. Anyway,
I don't.
Throw on Drive to Survive.
Mm-hmm.
It is the access that they have in this sport. It makes it so interesting. And this kind of stuff is more dramatic in this sport than it is in other sports. And so that he's leaving is a big deal. And the fact that he's going to Ferrari, the fact that he's hooking up with Charles Leclerc and they're going to be teammates, and Carlos Sainz. I was reading during the break from Mark, actually, that the expectation is that Carlos is going to join, presuming they become a team, the Audi team. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of engineering and machinery happening all over the place.
That's very exciting as we come into the next season. We got a lot to talk about with the Spurs coming around the bend. We're going to look at how they managed to squeeze a defeat after a remarkable comeback. But why did they have to come back in the first place is really going to be the question. We'll look there, and as the trade deadline approaches, opportunities that might be available to the silver and black. Before we go, we were talking about the coaches, and RJ, it dawned on you, there has been nothing even the Harbaugh hire doesn't feel like, oh my goodness, the balance of power has shifted. This year has been kind of while there's been a lot of change, nothing of real significance.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of why the Harbaugh hire doesn't feel incredible is it was so predictable. So it's just, oh, whoa, Jim Harbaugh went to LA. Nobody saw that coming. You know what I mean? So whatever. And I think we also assume he's going to be fine. So it's not interesting. But Dave Canales in Carolina, is that interesting? You know, him in Atlanta, is that interesting? You know, it's a weird, boring cycle. Like
in my mindset, RJ, I'm trying to figure out why. Yeah, I know that we've gone through this transition. The idea of what is required of a head coach has changed over the last 5 years. There's this need to be able to connect with very young guys in a very short amount of time to get the maximum amount of success. There is no garden out there. If they're not already cooked, or you've got just a little bit of time to get them ready to play football. And then scheme so much over skill seems to be a thing now, you know?
You have to bring out of those discernible advantage. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it too, but also the teams they're taking over are like kind of lame and uninteresting. I mean, that's a part of all this, you know, and I think we also maybe had too high of expectations. I don't hate to call them expectations, but we thought there was going to be way more blood. I mean, at one point during the season, Adam Schefter had a report that was something to the effect of, you know, some people believe that half the league
like
could
16 coaches could be looking.
You know, the Bears didn't have one, the Saints didn't have one, the Bucks didn't have one. I mean, it just kind of wound up being really, people thought that Jonathan Gannon might have been one and done in Arizona. Like none of that happened. I mean, so it's just boring. Like we're supposed to get all riled up about Mike McDonald taking over the Seahawks who missed the playoffs, you know, and we're kind of cute for a little bit, but ultimately weren't.
Right. And then you end the down on making some kind of harebrained or interesting decision, just going, you know what, we're good. We'll just stay in house, which was finally the wise move. The guy, you know, the one team out there that you go, you know what, that makes some sense. You should have done that.
Well, and even, you know, Bill Belichick, you know, the greatest coach of all time is dismissed. And so, okay, this is going to be interesting.
Right.
Well, we've actually identified the guy that we want to succeed him for a really long time now. And he's been here, and we actually don't even have to interview anybody because of the rules. So he's got the job. And even then it was a matter of like, okay, well, let's at least get interested in where Belichick's going to wind up. Who's going to be, you know, the new team on his hoodie? And nobody. I mean, like, it's kind of an underwhelming, you know, news cycle.
So far, unless we see a DQ exit, it will have been a dull one. Hey, we promised those tickets. I know they're coming. I wanted you to stay with me. We're giving away those tickets the moment we arrive. Talking silver and black. Spurs go down. Wemby shines again. They just wasn't enough. We're talking about it next. He's RJ, I'm Rob, and you are comfortably landing on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on The Blitz, we will talk all about the NFL, the Houston Texans, the Dallas Cowboys, and who knows what else with the General, John McClain. He will join us at 5:15. Plus, the Spurs had a game last night. Did they knock off the Orlando Magic? We'll react to that as well. The Blitz starts at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Our friends at ZipRecruiter conducted a recent survey and found that the top hiring challenge employers face for 2024 is a lack of qualified candidates. Let ZipRecruiter help you conquer the biggest hiring challenge, finding qualified candidates. See why 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Just go to this exclusive web address right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. ZipRecruiter.com/Bob. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/Bob. ZipRecruiter.com/BOB. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Show your love this Valentine's with exquisite fashion jewelry from Diamonds Direct and save an extra 20%. Now through Valentine's, all fashion favorites at Diamonds Direct are on sale. All earrings, all bracelets, all necklaces, stackable bands, colored gemstone jewelry, and more. Lots of romantic and timeless gifts for under $500. Special financing available too. Don't miss this. An extra 20% savings on all fashion jewelry favorites at Diamonds Direct. Shop in store or online at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-384-1340. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-384-1340. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-384-1340.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
The only gun show in San Antonio returns to the Shriner Auditorium, 1604 in Blanco. Can't make it this weekend? This Friday, Texas Gun Shows is open 4 to 7 p.m., 10 to 5 on Saturday, and 10 to 4 on Sunday. Texas Gun Show, Shriner Auditorium, this Friday through Sunday.
This is Jim Rome. Have a take, don't suck on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. KTFM Floresville.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
In the NBA, your San Antonio Spurs were valiant in defeat, or at least they gave it a hearty effort. They got up, then went down, and ended up losing 108-98 as Devin Vassell led the way with 26, and Wemby added his 21. In the NFL, Dan Quinn continues to wait for his opportunity. He'd interviewed for a second time with the Commanders. Now we just wait. We're talking about it.
This is R&R in the morning.
Man in motion, handoff, Pollard coming right, bang, zoom, touchdown Cowboys. Yama about 3 feet behind the line, got it!
It's R&R in the morning with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa.
Good morning!
Hey, good morning to you. He's RJ, I'm Rob. Huddle up around us. We got something to talk about. We've got the porch light on. Got a guest coming around the corner at 8:30. Damontre Moore is going to join us, the NFL veteran. Played 9 years in the league, but was prepared for such things in life at a fine university up there in College Station. Former Aggie football player going to join us. We're looking at the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about the coaches, guys like Dan Campbell he's aware of, and all kinds of good stuff with it. Good guy to talk to as we head into the Super Bowl. He'll get here at 8:30. Guy who is with particular insight into the brand new Seattle Seahawks new coach and the situation there. KJ Wright will join us. Good friend of the show. So lots of things to do. But before we go anywhere further, Edwin, are you prepared to give away some tickets? We promised them. It is the Australian Pink Floyd Experience. They're arriving at our beautiful Techport Center on August the 22nd, a Live Nation gig. If you want to go, jump on that device, 656-3776. Caller number 66 will be going, courtesy of us. Get on the phone. So, one of those Spurs nights where I wanted to turn the TV off after the run that the Spurs, it was like even at like 59 all. It looked like it was going to be a good game. Started fast, things got a little weird, but even Steven. And then Orlando rips off about 20 straight, and it looked like all was done.
17.
I don't want to
that bad.
But I'm just saying, it just felt like, what just happened? I mean, it was a little slip here, a little thing there. Wemby sits down. Orlando, by the way, huge basketball team, just ran away from us. But to their credit, RJ, they did turn it around and played some pretty good basketball.
So I don't know that I can completely agree with that. I mean, it felt a little bit like empty calories. You know what I mean? Like you could, I guess, define it as good basketball. Maybe I'm just sour. Maybe I'm still upset about the Washington loss on Monday. But I mean, it's a different kind of game when you're down that big. And I will give them, I guess, the bare minimum credit for narrowing it and making it close. But for what? Just to blow it again? You know what I mean? It was. I think this is a fun game. Just kind of start playing. I've been dancing around this. What do you think was the last point in the game? So this is a new thing, all right, that we'll do for every silver and black coming off of a game. Assuming it's a loss, what do you think was the last moment in the game where the Spurs had a positive win probability? So north of 50%.
Oh, I'm trying to, like, within the last 5 minutes or so is where you're getting at. Like when it was, I don't know, about 5 minutes to go, it felt still like there was a shot.
You are way off.
Am I really?
The last time that the Spurs had a positive win probability was with 9 minutes and 43 seconds left in the first half. Second quarter. They
got it
the last
down.
Time.
They were within 3 with 4 minutes to go.
Even when they were within 3. So there was.
I know there was weird. You're right.
There were 3 minutes and 27 seconds left in the game, and they were down by 3. At that moment, 99-96 Orlando, the Magic had a 78.4% win probability. Even at that moment. So that's what I'm saying. It's kind of hard to feel like they really narrowed it.
Well, yeah, but the scoreboard told me, and the effort showed a team in Orlando that tried a lot of different things in this about 8-minute span, that the Spurs were capable of, 1, holding on to the ball, 2, making timely shots, finding the appropriate guy. We are the worst alley-oop team in the world. And the sad thing about it is,
with a 100-foot tall human being.
I mean, we're trying, and some of them are moderately successful, but my goodness, we are clunky. And then we got eaten alive on the backdoor cuts last night. Just eaten alive. Greg Popovich talked about it yesterday. Post-game, he's talking about, this is a team that we're just not good enough to go one-on-one. This is it.
Their defense put us in a hole. They really picked up their defense there in the third quarter. And, that's always, when it gets real physical like that, it's a little bit of a problem for us. And as you say, until we adjusted to it and understood that that's what was happening and we couldn't stand in cement, that we had to move the ball better. But we have a tendency when we get down that it's not a selfish thing, but it's just an unwise thing where we're going to do it on our own. And we're not built like that right now. We've got to do it together. But we'll forget that because people try too hard to do it on their own.
I think the question was regarding Keldon about his effort level. Or Jeremy. Do you feel like he tried so hard that he was making mistakes? He said, one of our problems, like he just said there. Now, I don't know how you want to define it. And it's all relative, of course.
Define the effort or define
what selfish means. Because you could define it like Coach Pop defines it, like, hey, man, I get it. Every one of you guys wants to win so bad that you're willing to go do it. You want to go do it yourself. That's your mentality. I want you to do that. But the fact remains, you're not good enough to do it that way. And I think he was telling them that. Like, you know what? We have a tendency to over-try because we think we're good enough individually. And I'm talking to you, Keldon. I'm talking to you, Devin. That you think you're good enough, and you're not. At least not yet. Good enough to go do that. And I think they paid the price for that last night. Pop hit it right on the head because they're not good enough. But what they were good, when they were working together for that 18-minute run, it was the kind of thing, as a Spurs fan who sits generally upset with his arms crossed watching defensive mistake after mistake, really go, you know what? When they're dialed in, I can see what Pop and the coaching staff see every now and again, where you go, holy cow, there's something here if we can just figure out how to keep it, how to maintain this. And it's just been, they just can't hold on to whatever that little thing is for very long. And they couldn't last night either.
I take the selfishness to be more of individual tunnel vision. Not in a, I'm focused on my own production, my own stats, my own whatever, but in a, I'm just,
a little bit more selfish vein.
But this is all
because I do too.
I think that's how all anyone kind of knows what to do right now, is just go out and be a great athlete, because the cohesion is really lacking. I mean, last night is another example of something we've been talking about. Why is Wemby playing 30 minutes and only putting up 15 shots?
We are the worst passing team. Although, did we keep our streak alive?
Oh, that's a great question.
We are digging for it right now. Yes, we did.
24 assists. So I think we're at 106.
The most useless stat in all of sports.
106 straight games, consecutive games with 20 or more assists. The all-time record is well within sight. 14 games, 15 away from having the outright record ourselves. We need to get like a banner made.
I think so. We need to start hanging some sort of 20 banner.
Well, and then they'll pick it up for the rodeo road trip. You know what I mean? That's what they do with the banners. But and then they'll drop it after.
I think they should be color coded for wins and losses, so we really get the importance of the stat, because it does indeed have absolutely no value at all in the grand scheme of things, because they lose most of these games. I want to talk about something real quick before it slips my mind. As we were talking about the effort required and the question regarding trying too hard. Jeremy Sohan had a heck of a game. I mean, he's starting to do things that, he was doing last year that got him invited to the All-Star weekend. Well, this week, they've been announcing different things, and Wemby has been invited to a couple. Jeremy was not invited back for that international yada yada game that he got to play in last year. Was invited back. Pop in post-game or pre-game, well, I forget where it was asked about it. And, he went on about it. If we have the sound about Sohan, do we have the sound?
It was Wemby.
Oh, no, I'm talking about something else. So Pop came out and kind of defended his guy. Like, hey, I don't know who's making the decision, but Jeremy is really playing well. He doesn't normally do that. And you know why he did it? In my mind, I believe in his heart of hearts, he realized he did his player a disservice. He put Jeremy in a situation that he could not be successful in. There was a lot of hope. There was a lot of attempt, but he put him in a situation that just flopped. So while we appreciate the effort, the output wasn't so good. The perception amongst many, and me included, was, gosh, Jeremy was an utter failure. Well, not really. He was an utter failure at point guard, but the guy still got the qualities that he had when he was drafted, and it is exhibiting that once he was freed from the responsibility, the yoke of being the quarterback, and suddenly the guy's a player, and that was directly because of what Pop did. That's the only reason he's not there. And I think Pop feels bad about that.
It was the Rising Stars challenge that Jeremy was snubbed out of, just to be very clear. I suppose. I mean, good for Pop, I guess, having his dudes back. And I don't want to.
No, I think he feels bad about it.
Blanket around this, but I mean, it's hard to. Jeremy's played really well for the last week, right? Like he's played moderately well. That kind of had you, I'm like, okay, yeah, there he is, for the last week. But it's been so inconsistent.
Well, exactly, because he's been put in playing a position at point guard where, I mean, he's never done it, ever. I mean, it's a ridiculous ask, and then to do it at the highest level. I mean, we could put it at the F1s. That's like asking one of you or me. Guess what? You're going to be the lead driver for a car. What?
Faith in you or I.
Wow. Well, I'm just saying that the water that he was thrown into without being able to swim was pretty deep. And while it was an abject failure, it should reflect more on his coach than him, because the moment that he was put in the position to be just the glue guy, the guy that will take up the slack, the guy that'll get the rebound, the guy that'll start everything that he's capable of, suddenly we saw exactly why he was drafted. So he stunted a bit of growth, I'm talking about Pop, by not putting him where he should be. And he put him in a situation where the rest of the country looks at him like, wow, what an abject failure. That guy can't play point guard. Well, no, he never could. Why should he be judged on the decision of his coach? Kind of like what Micah is talking about with his.
Oh, no, that's the complete and total opposite.
Oh.
Micah's being put in a position to thrive and to have success, and in a position where he is very good at that. To put him somewhere else would be, I mean, I guess what you're saying would work if Micah was put at linebacker.
Probably, or at safety. And you know what? You at safety was awful. Well, yes. I've never been a safety.
I can't
You're asking me to
make
do
the
that.
Pro Bowl at safety. Yeah.
So I feel bad for Jeremy, and I do think Pop in his heart of hearts is kind of like, dude, I did this guy a disservice. I probably, while it was for the betterment of the team, and there's nobody gonna argue that as a whole, Jeremy Sohan is not a better basketball player for the experience. He is, but it was just on a team as a team, and as if wins are your only concern, which I would like it to be. It was an abject failure. It just didn't work. The numbers proved it every time they were out.
He was great last night. I mean,
was.
one of two Spurs with a positive plus minus, although it was +1. So I mean, we're talking, you're north of that line, but barely so.
For the congratulations of a tough loss, man. We knew it was going to be hard. Orlando. Post game,
this is a tough loss. Like I view.
No, they're a good team. They're a really good team.
It's a really easy loss in that sense. It's really like, oh, they lost to a good team. They let a good team go on a 17-0 run. Yeah, they had a cute little 21-2 run themselves, but it really didn't matter, and it really ultimately was meaningless, as evidenced by the fact that it didn't even net them close to a positive win. Think about that for a second. They got within 3 points with under 3.5 minutes left, and mathematical win probability suggested they didn't have anywhere higher than, that Orlando still had over a 75% chance.
I don't get that.
That's crazy.
I don't get that, because my sense was it was going to be hard, but I live by the premise, and always have been, that if you have a lead of 10 points at 2 minutes and it gets any smaller than that, or you lose, it is your fault. Whatever happened, if you lose a lead of 10 points within 2 minutes, it's your fault as a coach. You did it to yourself. I don't know how you don't get it.
And literally
in the game, and it felt like there's still no. I'm not saying that it was impossible, but I didn't feel like, as I was watching with 3 minutes to go, that with 3 minutes down, that there's a 70% chance that Orlando was going to win. You look at the Orlando faces and watch the way they coach. They still were genuinely concerned. Now, the tough news about that was the Spurs helped that along. They were missing free throws and they did some stupid things, but so was Orlando. So I still felt like there was a chance. And I joked saying, as they went to break right then, and they did, I felt like I should turn the TV off right now.
This is crazy to look at a little bit more in detail. 2:55 to go. It's still a 3-point game. Right after a Paolo rebound, Orlando had an 80.4% chance of winning the game.
I just didn't get that sense. I just didn't feel like this all is lost. I really felt like given that, there's still a chance. Now, it didn't work out that way. In fact, it stretched the other direction, but it was, at least in my mind.
I know you're talking about like the vibe.
Yeah.
Big vibes.
All I can do is get the sense of the game. And there was people in it that felt it wasn't playoff caliber intensity, but there was a fair amount.
I recognize the game also had massive swings. So looking at the kind of overall team statistics from the night is a little bit irresponsible in that sense. But it is easy to understand when you look at, Orlando led in field goal percentage and 3-point percentage. They had fewer turnovers. They had more rebounds. They checked every box. But again, to your point, at that moment, the Spurs were a little hot. But it's amazing how even all the heat they had going for them in a 21-2 run couldn't drop Orlando below an 80% win probability.
I know.
That's crazy.
And the fact, while I can argue that it didn't feel that way, the numbers bore it out. Not only did they not have a chance of catching up, the lead stretched just because of the timing and the timeouts that were available to Orlando. That Pop had already used.
I agree with Cougs, by the way. I said in the
he
chat,
knows
I'm
basketball.
tired of the team forgetting how to play basketball for 5 minutes a game. That's it. Like it's not even a brain fart. It's like they have brain diarrhea for 5 minutes, and it's just at that point it's irrecoverable. You know what I mean? They just their pants are soiled and they got to go home and change.
We've all
been there.
Well, some of us more than others, but that's the difference of it with a team that's full of a bunch of young guys and a team with veterans that understand that the margin of victory, no matter who you are, is much thinner than 5 minutes. And if you lose focus for a total of 48 minutes and 5 of those minutes you've lost focus, you're going to lose 99% of those games. I don't care who you are. You cannot ever let up. And the difference between rookies and veterans is that premise alone. And it's hard to get unless you've been there. You don't know what 100% effort all the time is until you get there. And no matter how hard you try, if you haven't gotten there, you still think you've done enough, and you haven't.
So shoot your shot, or really more call your shot. Oh, trade deadline's a week from today. Happy early birthday to Edwin, of course. The Spurs making a move.
You know,
any move of any kind.
Yes, they're going to make a move.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the two-part question. You've passed the first part. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Second part, on the splash scale, okay, with 10 being sitting in the front row of SeaWorld, you're soaking wet after all the shows, 1 being the Sahara Desert in terms of dryness.
Well, there's a couple things in play.
Where will it grade out?
Well, it's starting to get a little weird around the league. The Lakers are kind of falling apart and wondering who the heck they are. The 76ers are collapsing. They've lost 5 straight, and they're trying to figure out who they are. They've watched Milwaukee make moves. Well, they watched Miami, which is the closest competitor to Philly right now, make a move. Miami might make another move with Butler, so I think there's another one out there. I think there's a crazy move about to happen. I'm not sure where. And I do think the Spurs are going to have a role in this. So do I think there'll be a splash? Possibly, though doubtful. Is that a
grade the potential splash 0 to 10?
I give it a high end. There could be something crazy like a 10. There could be a Trey move out there. Don't discount the fact that I'm just saying could be. It just feels a little strange right now because a lot of these good teams are being left behind by the 3 greats or the 2 greats, and I think there's some need to kind of recalibrate, and especially on the Western side, I think there's some moves to be made. I'm going to say a 6. A 6 will be a 6. A player of note will land with the Spurs.
There's some Oz the Mentalist stuff happening to you this morning because you picked caller number 6 a little while ago. Now you said a 6. It's just a number that's on your mind right now.
Stuck on my brain. I wonder, as you know, I was researching the month of February, RJ.
Okay.
I wonder if the 6 plays into the year itself. Lunar New Year is on the 10th. And if you weren't aware, you know what tomorrow is?
Tomorrow is
Groundhog's Day, isn't it? Are we coming around Groundhog's Day?
I'm gonna be straight up. I don't totally know the rules of Groundhog Day. Like what is if the groundhog sees his where does the groundhog viewing take place?
We find out whether. Let me see here. I think if he sees his shadow, which means if the sun is out, there's more winter. It's kind of the opposite. Why if he doesn't see his shadow, it's cloudy. Winter's almost done, or something to that effect.
I would like to know, but I also why are we using a groundhog shadow? Shouldn't we be using like a giraffe? You know what I mean? Like something that is
there's
tall?
Not a lot of giraffe running around northern Pennsylvania.
Is that where it happens?
And Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Haven't you seen the movie? Come on. We are all under requirements to maintain our TV license to watch Groundhog Day over the next 48 hours. You know that, right? It's going to be on every channel.
So the Wikipedia says this can't be a result of the movie. It says it's a tradition observed in the United States and Canada.
Well, it's right up there.
Don't forget our brothers up in the north.
Yeah.
On February 2nd of every year, it derives from the Pennsylvania Dutch superstition that if a groundhog emerges from its burrow on this day and sees its shadow, it will retreat to its den and winter will go on for 6 more weeks.
As I said.
If it does not see its shadow, it will arrive early. While the tradition, Robert, remains popular in the 21st century, studies have found no consistent association between the groundhog seeing its shadow and the subsequent arrival of spring-like weather.
You didn't further. The second half of what goes on during Groundhog Day isn't promoted nearly as much because after Punxsutawney Phil offers us his weather prediction, he is then turned into a fine soup.
Hold up. So if the shadow means spring is coming.
If it's cloudy, it will be spring soon. If it's summer
a new word
or shiny,
jargon? Cloudy should no. The only word that should be here is shadow.
Well, see what causes the shadow, sir. Good sir.
Just use the word shadow. Don't use any extra terminology.
No shadow nearly summer.
Adding X's and Y's where they aren't necessary.
If there is a shadow, spring is far. If there is no shadow, spring is near.
Okay, what are you rooting for?
That's Pennsylvania. I mean, we're already in spring. Did you get outside yesterday?
I know, but I'm saying, like, what are you rooting for the country?
I'm rooting for all of us to live healthily and happily. Spring. I want everybody to enjoy a fine spring.
But a lot of people enjoy winter.
No,
a lot of people enjoy the coziness of it all.
I think they did back in December. Right now, everybody's about tired of it. That's why you start seeing all those.
It in December because it
hey,
didn't exist in
want to go to
December.
Bahamas?
This is really winter. I mean, this is the winter of it
This
all.
is the thick of it right now, and I think most people would like to go to the Bahamas or go to some sunny place, much like San Antonio, because we're living nice. 70 degree in the afternoon. This is Chamber of Commerce weather, man. It's fabulous.
What is the Spurs version of Groundhog Day? What can we come up with? What is a
we're living it.
No, but hear me out. So they play the Pelicans tomorrow, right? So they don't play today. Play the Pelicans tomorrow. What can we determine as a if something happens? That's something that you and I should decide between now and tomorrow's show. If this happens, it means the Spurs are due X. If it doesn't happen, it means the Spurs are due Y. We establish our own shadow, our own clouds
that we can reapply on an annual basis or on a daily. Okay.
Yeah, they might not necessarily play on Groundhog Day every year, but at least it should be a moving thing. You know what I mean? So like it's relative to the season at hand. So between today and tomorrow, everybody will tweet at Rob Thompson ESPN. Look at his Kyle Kuzma tweet. Tweet at me at RJ Ochoa. Let us know in the chat what we should establish as the Mendoza line, so to speak, that the Spurs can find themselves on one side of tomorrow against the Pelicans.
Will I have access to the number of enchiladas that Zion will eat in pregame?
You will not.
I'm gonna, because if it's the 5 that I expect, the 6, because you have to have one with chili meat that I expect. I know what I'm going to go.
I like building this around just the idea of a Spurs win. So
I'm saying if he has the extra with chili meat, I think the Spurs win. That would be my
that can't be the groundhog element. Has to be something associated with the Spurs. That's our fixed variable.
Oh, the fixed variable is the Spurs.
It's something relative to the Spurs.
Like if we wear those silly brown warm-ups, we're going to lose. Is that a good one?
Something that casts something over the course of the rest of the season. So if the Spurs, I'm making this up. I don't know that I love this one.
If Pop wears the pink flesh-colored polo, we're going to lose. Is that a good barometer?
If the Spurs win, then they're going to win
because
10 more games across the rest of the season. Because they won on or near Groundhog Day. It's their version of seeing their shadow.
I'm giving you a hard time. I think I get it. We'll do this tomorrow at 7 o'clock as we offer our own Punxsutawney Phil expert opinion and
I don't ever want to
future divination.
Do you know who? I don't know. Divination isn't a word I thought would come up here today.
Well, you know, when you're
I wasn't prepared.
When you're a member of the House Gryffindor, those are the things that come to your mind. I have a question for you.
Wow, I have an answer for you.
Where do the Chiefs sit today on your hierarchy of the greatest teams and dynasties? And what does a win do for them? Do they sit above or beyond the Dallas Cowboys there the 90s, or are they already past that? We're looking at their places in history.
If they win.
If they win. And where are they now? We have to know where they might be going. And to know that, we have to know where they are now. The Kansas City Chiefs, your position in history and where they might be if they get that win in Las Vegas, a game that we will watch very closely and attend for the week prior because we're headed that direction. The San Antonio Sports Star big game coverage will begin on Monday. It's all brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds and powered by Synergenics, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. To name just a few. Hey, coming back, let's look around the NFL as we prep for Super Bowl 58. Where does Kansas City sit on the Mount Rushmore of great football teams? Your opinions and our thoughts next. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The NFL playoffs are here.
Read all about it, baby. One last drive.
Wild card, divisional, conference championship, and Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. Hear it on your exclusive home for the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. Y'all gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistent scent, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep a smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
It is time to play Pass the Pigskin for a chance to win $5,000 cash and tailgate prize packs. Celebrate with Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds by entering the Pork Rind Appreciation Day giveaway at porkrindappreciationday.com. That's porkrindappreciationday.com. And don't forget to pick up your favorite bold flavored protein packed Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds today at HEB.
The Australian Pink Floyd Show, First Class Traveling Set World Tour 2024, August 22nd, Boeing Center at Techport. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. The Australian Pink Floyd Show.
Hey, it's Rob Thompson here for SA Card House. Over there on San Pedro, you know where it is, 13400 San Pedro right there at Bitters. One of my favorite places to go for a lot of reasons. It's not just about the restaurant and the bar, which is a reason to be. It's not just about the atmosphere and the great games and all the prizes that go along with being a San Antonio Card House member. It's a vibe. It's a thing that you get whether you're a brand new player. They have brand new classes for you to get you interested in playing, to teach you how to play the game. They got great membership rates. They've got food to serve at great atmosphere while you're playing, or if you just bring your friends and family to play. But it's an atmosphere of success and fun, and that's why I go to SA Card House, and that's why you need to give them a try. Go check out their website, sacardhouse.com, but you're not going to know until you go. It's a private social club waiting for you to come and play. It's at Bitters in San Pedro. It is my SA Card House. Head there today. Thank me later.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? You need to call QC Kinetics today. Hey, it's James Spudger with San Antonio Sports Star. Listen, the state of health is ideas like steroids and surgery are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative and non-surgical drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, pain from arthritis or injury. Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics' advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Make 2024 the year you reclaim your mobility, reclaim your independence, walk, run, play, and live without the danger and trauma of surgery and without harmful drugs. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. Locations in Hollywood Park, Westover Hills, and New Braunfels.
This is Rob Thompson. I'm here with my brother, Jason Thompson, a lawyerforus.com.
I'm a lawyer for you. I've helped you.
Yes, he has, and many others here in San Antonio. And that's why I'm so glad I get a chance to talk to you today about what happens when you get into an accident.
It's overwhelming for everybody involved. You have this paralysis of what to do next, who to talk to, how do you get medical care, or you're in the hospital and who's going to pay for this? It's this swirl of anxiety, and many times it's even worse than the injury itself. You have to help people through that situation. And I tell every client the same thing. Don't worry. I've got this. I will take care of this. Just worry about your family. Just worry about getting healthy. If I can do that for you and maximize your recovery, you stay in business, you keep clients. And for 30 years, I've kept every client I've ever had. I don't lose clients. I represent their family and friends because that's how seriously I take my job.
A lawyerforus.com. You can find him at 210-900-0400. That's 210-900-0400. Jason Thompson, a lawyerforus.com. Hi, it's Jason Minix. You're listening to the home of the Cowboys, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He's RJ Ochoa, the managing editor of Blogging the Boys. I'm Rob Thompson. We got some rodeo tickets to give away today. John Michael Montgomery will be coming to our Frost Bank Center. And we've got a couple tickets to give away. I'm going to go see a couple of these shows. Do you enjoy the rodeo, or are you a grounds guy? Do you go see the stock shows and all that?
I'll be honest,
on the sides.
I don't enjoy most things with people. I don't like to go out all too often. Yeah, there's people there. So generally duck away.
So no, I enjoy walking the barns. I like seeing what all the fluff and clean animals that are.
Yeah, like if I have to pick a thing, that's definitely cool. Although I only enjoy things like that at this point. My son is all about the animals, so he's.
I was going to say, your rodeo days are just beginning.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah,
you're gonna
not my
some
personal
time.
cup of tea, but I'm there. You know what I mean for those particular.
Do you have stuff?
So you are the one with the animal interest, though.
Yeah, I enjoy going to see the. Some of the animals, some of the stock, they're just beautiful. I mean, they're the finest possible of the breed and standards. I mean, they're just awesome to see.
Okay.
These cows that have been washed and buffed and shined, and they're perfect looking, and you're like, man, oh man, that's worth some money. That's some bovine money right there. I don't know. I enjoy the rodeo. I can't wait. But do you have the cowboy? Can you cowboy up? You got the boots and the yanks and the hat and the snaps and everything goes along with what is required to be a rodeo type.
I'm not trying to just wreck all this, but I don't think I've ever owned a pair of cowboy boots in my life. It's not my thing. I maybe when I was like a kid, you know what I mean, like a 6-year-old, something like that at one point. But yeah, I just I got some jeans and I got some starched shirts. You know what I mean? That I can look the part from ankles up, but from a boots perspective, not my thing.
I've got a couple.
Maybe I need to get a pair of boots.
But
maybe I got a pair of boots.
You should.
What color should I go for?
I don't know. Maybe we should go exotic. Maybe you should find something unique.
Well, you know what, Rob? We're going to be in Las Vegas.
Yes, there's no better place to find something unique.
That's what I'm saying. That's where in Rush Hour 2, they went and got dressed to the nines for the final fight sequence or whatever. I think it was an alligator skin type of boots situation.
Yeah,
maybe I just go that far. Maybe you help me find a pair of boots, an alligator skin.
You bring the black card. I'll bring the eyes. We'll find something.
Okay.
I mean, you might have to take out a small loan.
Yeah, but that's the thing, and I'll wear them on the final day. I'll wear them with shorts. You know what I mean? We'll see how it all goes.
As we do our Ocean's 11 walk in front of the Bellagio.
Oh yeah, we already established this. And you're Brad Pitt. I'm George Clooney. The Blitz boys are the brothers who fought all the time. The explosive brothers. Yeah,
I'm more the Elliot Gould guy now.
Wow.
I understand where I am in life. I get it. At one point,
that's not a bad place to be.
I was a pretty badass
movie,
Brad Pitt, but that was a long time ago.
Have you ever noticed in the original movie in Ocean's 11, not the 12, or I think they had like a 14, Ocean's 14 and a half or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but in 11, every time Brad is seen at the beginning of a scene, he's eating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that could have been you. You know what I mean? Like
every time you see me, I'm normally eating, so it kind of all rolls into one. Let me ask you a question about your NFL fandom, and you really get a sense when I ask, as we live now, I guess we can safely say whether it's an established dynasty or not, we're in the Kansas City era. And prior to that, it was the New England dynasty. There's no question that was a dynasty. The difference between the eras and the dynasties is obviously, numbers. How many did you win? But there's the back-to-back issue. There's the total talent of the team issue. There is the singular great player. There's the coach behind the scenes. There's a lot of different factors that change from teams of being that era to dynasty. Where is Kansas City in your mind using that template to judge that rubric?
I like the delineation between eras and dynasties because I think that matters. I do think that we had an archaic definition of dynasty that we all kind of came into the 21st century with. And that was, well, the Cowboys of the 90s were a dynasty because they won 3 out of 4. You have to win. And because the Patriots did it early in the 2000s, it was like, oh, well, they checked the box. I think the Spurs were kind of the century's first example of a new era dynasty to kind of combine these two principles, because you don't have to win 3 out of 4. You don't have to go back to back necessarily. If you are just very, very, very good with multiple titles, I think you have to get 3 titles. You don't have to have
3 is a necessity within 5 years. I would say that is one of the.
I don't think it has to be 5 years.
Really?
I think it could be 6 years or 7 years. But if you have at least 3 over that long of a stretch of time, that window or that condensed window of time with the same general nucleus, in this case, it would be Mahomes and Kelsey and Andy Reid, I think that's a dynasty. But I do think without that third, it's just an era. And they're really unique in that they've been to all these title games in a row and they've have what would be, I guess, a second Super Bowl loss. But then if they lose this game, it's hard to call it a dynasty because they're only 500 in Super Bowls, right? They went 2-2. You can't call that a dynasty.
But they could flip right back next year. Once they get that third, then suddenly are we talking dynasty again? Because it'll be within the parameters, right?
If they win the third now, they're a dynasty. Because you're talking, that's 3 and 5 years.
Okay.
And you've got a back-to-back, and you have all these other things within that. You have 2 Mahomes MVPs. You have Kelsey setting the playoff record, surpassing Jerry Rice. And I really hate that I have to say this. I think it's better than the 90s Cowboys dynasty.
Okay, I do too. And I'm tortured by that thought because I refuse to admit, because I still believe that Cowboy team was the top 3 as far as talent on the field and who they could beat over the annals of time. But I think Kansas City's better, and it's not because of total talent. It's because of Mahomes. I think it's just because that guy is singularly better, at least in game, than anybody I've ever played. And if he keeps doing it this way, he'll be the best guy to ever do it.
I think you're right, but I also disagree with you because I think it helps when you're a dynasty to have the star of it all. Like in the Spurs case, you have Tim, but in the Spurs case, you also had Tony and Manu, and you had different elements.
Yeah,
but
they were kind of distant.
No, but they were, but it's still but it's still the big 3. Like forever, it was it was the record associated with that trio. And so what makes the Chiefs unique is that they've got the best quarterback in the NFL over the run. They've got the best tight end in the NFL over the run. They've got the best head coach in the NFL over the run. And they've had all these other players kind of come and flow through. Like the Honey Badger was, a character at one point in time. Anthony Hitchens was a character at one point in time. Now you have Steve Spagnuolo, who's kind of had his moment in the sun this particular season. Now you've got
Hill.
Not that. You had Tyreek Hill obviously at a certain point in time. They took out what might have been the greatest regular season team ever in the 2022 Philadelphia Eagles last year. I mean, they went toe to toe with them and did it. And I think what really exacerbates the issue is when you contextualize it a little bit further is they have in AFC championship games, they've now won 4 AFC titles. In the first one, they took out the little measly Tennessee Titans, like not a big deal, right? Whatever. But in the 3 since then, they took out, obviously on the path of the second one in 2020, they took out the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, one of their direct challengers. They took out in the title game with the ticket to the Super Bowl on the line. Then they lost to Joe Burrow, and granted that, but that kind of adds to it because then they got the revenge, right? They got like the Spurs did. They came back and they got the revenge.
It added
they
to
took
the
out
legend.
Joe. Yeah, they took out Joe Burrow. So another direct challenger. Granted, again, they did take a punch. Then they took out Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson's going to have 2 MVPs. And if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, the Chiefs will have won the Super Bowl in both seasons. That Lamar Jackson. So you ruin the great things that your other challengers and adversaries have. I think that it's hard to say they're the best dynasty ever. I think the 70 Steelers are probably the most untouchable for now, unless the Chiefs continue this run. The
There's
80s
a 49er
Niners
run there for a while.
Yeah, the 80s Niners we really forget that. But the Niners kind of spanned the whole decade because the first one they won,
they were a monolith for a long time. Who goes from Montana to Young? I mean, it was a brutal time to be anybody against San Francisco. They were good constantly.
The Young thing is hard to include in the same dynasty because their first title was 81 and Young didn't win until 94. So you can't call them a 14-year dynasty.
But there was a continuum there for those that were watching it. Yeah,
we're dealing in eras, dynasties, and continuums. This is
I didn't bring San Francisco into the conversation until just now. I don't think they qualify for what we're talking about, but they were pretty tough.
This is if the Chiefs win, back to kind of the premise of the question, they're in the top 2 of that. I think they only trail the 70 Steelers.
As far as short-term preeminence, they're still a New England thing for forever. There's still this New England that they just, while they were what's the enemy in Star Trek that's always there?
Oh, I'm not a Star Trek person.
But there was the enemies that were they were out there always, and that's always
the
who they were
Klingon?
fighting.
No, that's
the
the
Klingons
language.
or something else, but it was whatever it was. New England hung around as the the Federation. How's that? Is that a better application?
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Your generation. They were the Federation forever, whether they were powerful or not. They were still out there for 20
I'm not
years.
trying to cater to like my answer, but I do think you have to almost break the Patriots up into 2 different
dynasties. And that was my next question. Should we actually define them by 2 different things? That 2 parts span both in Belichick and Brady.
Right, and they're the obviously lone common denominator, but you have the early dynasty that had the defensive prowess and the Teddy Bruschi and the Mike Vrabel and the Rodney Harrison and things like that. Then you had the offensive boom that included Gronk and Julian Edelman. I will tell you
this, you're right. While we were in it, it felt like 2 very different things. But as we go through time and we look at through the rearview mirror, we're going to start looking at those numbers as a continuum from like 03 to 20. You know what I mean? From whatever, it just kept going and going and going as long as Brady was there.
Something that the late great Chris Wessling used to say was, as it relates to Tom Brady specifically, you could quite literally break his career in half, and both halves would be Hall of Fame.
That's true. Now, but we have to close this out and look forward to other stuff and talk about how embarrassed Micah's been. So let's give our top 5.
I'm sorry, Ray Mendez says it was the Romulans.
That's it. The Romulans. They were the Romulans were just always out there. Sometimes Kurt kicked their ass. Sometimes they were always there, and that felt like New England for such a long time. But let's put it on paper. If Kansas City wins, in your mind, not so far, and I agree with you both, the first and second. I think that Steelers. There was nothing going on. As the team that was closest to him, that was still far away in the Cowboys, it was the Steelers, no doubt. And I do think Kansas City wins this weekend. They're right there for a very different reason, but they're right there for players, for Hall of Fame worthiness, for head coach, for all the stuff that we put on that you have to be. They got it. They're 2. 3.
I would just add on the Chiefs note, it's something impressive when you snuff out another would-be dynasty.
True.
Like the 70s, the 70s Steelers. Yeah, the 70s Steelers took out both the 70s Vikings and the 70s Cowboys,
which was
and prohibited them from being dynasties in their own right. And the Chiefs are kind of doing that to the Niners. If the Chiefs beat the Niners specifically, then you took 2 titles away from what would have been like an all-worldly run from a different team in the NFL.
Absolutely true.
So I guess top 3 dynasties for me: 70s Steelers, hypothetically, 2020s Chiefs. I mean, I know the first one was in 19, but whatever.
Right.
Third is I'm still going to go 90s Cowboys because the disparity, the gap between them and the field. They had one challenger, and it was the Niners, and they dominated them. I mean, they Romulans them all the way through. I mean,
it's really easy to go, your blue is hanging in the wind, whatever, with the Cowboys, because there's been a lot of, 3 to 5s. There's a lot of those teams, 3 and 5 years that, really
they were the first to do 3 out of 4.
Right.
They were the very first, and that had never been done before.
You can also quantify the free agency ages versus non-free agency.
Sure.
Because the Steelers weren't going to lose any talent; they just had it, and the Cowboys to some extent had that in the 90s. But I do say talent for talent, from coach to the bottom, that Cowboys run was as good as any but the other 2 we've mentioned. They were so freaking dominant.
If the Chiefs get it done, is the obviously
that's what I'm saying.
They need that to be right. But if they don't, then you're just an era. You're not a dynasty.
Micah Parsons couldn't show his face for nearly a week. The poor guy. He was embarrassed beyond belief. You want to hear? You want to find out? Well, he talked about it yesterday on his podcast, The Edge. We'll have responses and thoughts on Micah's embarrassment at the end of the season. Hold on. We got a lot to do. He's RJ. I'm Rob, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on The Blitz, we will talk all about the NFL, the Houston Texans, the Dallas Cowboys, and who knows what else with the General, John McClain. He will join us at 5:15. Plus, the Spurs had a game last night. Did they knock off the Orlando Magic? We'll react to that as well. The Blitz starts at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Are you tired of going to the dentist over and over again? Hi, I'm Dr. Andrew Mueller, Chief Oral Surgeon at Doctor's Implants.
We have put a lot of money into fixing my teeth over and over and over again, you know, a filling or a crown or a this or that.
At Doctor's Implants, replacing your teeth with full mouth dental implants might be the long-term solution you're looking for.
The 6-Hour Smile is a permanent full-mouth teeth replacement. Your new smile will be custom designed to fit your face and lifestyle and will look and function just like regular teeth. You won't need to remove them from your mouth overnight, and you won't need adhesive to keep them in place. Eat freely and smile confidently again. Research them at doctorsimplants.com. Receive a complimentary doctor's consultation and CT scan when you call 210-640-0000. Again, that's 210-640-0000.
Home of the 6-Hour Smile.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
I still get PMS. You know what I mean? So
Why
I
don't
don't
you get
know.
a hysterectomy? California,
Actually, I've
they
had
pay
a
for
partial
everything.
hysterectomy, smart ass.
Why didn't you get a full?
I don't know. I don't know why they didn't just gut me.
When they gut you, like a fish, do you age out quicker? Does that estrogen keep you a little younger?
Do you flop around on the dock?
The John Clay Wolf Show. Every Saturday morning.
Catch the John Clay Wolf Show Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
Okay, if you love playing fantasy sports like I do, take it to the next level with Prize Picks. It's the #1 daily fantasy sports app. This is Rob Thompson, and right now, with the big game around the corner, NBA in full swing, there's no better way to get into the action than with Prize Picks. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections on a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's that easy. You can turn $10 into $250 just like that in 2 taps. I love the easy gameplay, the quick withdrawals, and huge selection of players, the stat options, and more. And check this out. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy platform with injury protection insurance. It'll keep you in the game even if one of your players isn't. It's great. Over 7 million sports fans have already signed up, and I'm one of them. So join me and watch your favorite players and get paid doing it right now. Just download the Prize Pick app and use the code ALAMO. That's ALAMO on Prize Picks for your first deposit. They'll match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Score big with LS Tractors at Dietz Tractor in Seguin, the MVPs of the field. LS Tractors, the star quarterbacks of farming, perfect for tough tasks for farm, ranch, and landscaping. Dietz Tractors has your all-star coaching staff for top-notch equipment. They're not just selling tractors, they're building lasting relationships with unmatched dealer support for parts and maintenance. It's a winning strategy that goes beyond the final whistle. Don't miss the game-winning move. 0% financing available with approved credit on LS Tractors. Start blue, stay blue at Dietz Tractor in Seguin.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, there's something that binds us all, the collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the Ping G430 Max 10K driver. Straighter flies farther with Ping's most forgiving driver ever made, the Max 10K. Come in today and test drive Ping's newest driver at Edwin Watts Golf Shops. Visit us at your local Edwin Watts Golf Shops or shop us online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
Super Bowl 58 in Vegas is set. It's the Chiefs and Niners. Hear it right here on your exclusive home for the Super Bowl. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Huddle up! Gather around! We got stuff to talk about. That's RJ. I'm Rob. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Go watch us live. We took time to get pretty for you. We decorated our areas. We look good. We have prepared for you. So come on in. Hit that like button, hang around, tell a friend. We're going to talk about the NBA in a little while. We are awfully close to having a guest come and join us. At 8:30, we will be joined by Damontre Moore. We're looking at the NFL We'll look at the Seattle Seahawks specifically and talk a little Aggies from a former Aggie as they go through a bit of transition. He'll be at 8:30 at 9:30 or is it 9:15?
9:15.
9:15. KJ Wright. Got to get this right because he's coming from Seattle, so he's joining us early, setting an alarm. We want to make sure.
KJ, RJ, you jealous?
Lots of J's, lots of initials. I was never cool enough to have a nickname with
Prime
just
Rob.
initials. Prime Rob. Sure. What was the other? No, we don't even want to bring that up.
What was it? Big Fudge?
Something like that. That's
yeah.
That doesn't stick. When we talk about when we look forward to the NBA, and that'll be right after Damontre departs. I have a fix for the Joel Embiid MVP malingering injury issue. I have a fix.
Then,
I'm going to put it on
give it to
paper.
somebody else?
After you and I are going to hash it out, and then we're going to get it right. We're going to write a sternly written letter to the commissioner and those that would care, and we're going to get this fixed. Even if Joe Dumars does not agree,
is there something to fix? I don't really feel
well,
like
maybe there isn't. Maybe there is. But if Joel Embiid doesn't get any MVP opportunity because of a legitimate injury, maybe we do need to fix something. But we haven't gotten there yet. But if we do get there, I do have the fix. Micah Parsons spent the week, much like most Dallas Cowboys, embarrassed, ashamed, and humiliated. But yet again, having tickets to Mobile, Alabama, instead of the current Super Bowl. Micah Parsons disappeared. Wow, we hadn't seen him for nearly a week, and we were getting a little worried. All we heard was from his brother. But finally, Micah showed up, did what was required of him in his podcast, and he spoke to the game, how they got beaten, and the embarrassment that very quickly followed the loss.
Obviously, Jordan Love played an unbelievable game, but at the end of the day, we were just outperformed, out-schemed, however you want to put it. Like, they had an answer for everything, and people saying, well, why ain't you go to linebacker? Because, they said you could stop the run. Well, guess what? The packages are in for me to go to linebacker. There's multiple packages, multiple variations, but I can only play what it's called. Whatever they're calling, whoever personnel they're putting on, I'm not putting out personnel. I'm not putting out the calls. Nothing's coming from me. So you could put that and put that wherever you want to be or wherever you want to put it, but they're not coming from me. The packages are in. I've even told multiple players, coaches that I'm very fine playing linebacker and playoffs. If that's what y'all want me to do, I just want to win. And you can ask any coach, ask any player that. It's a God honest truth. Because obviously this is not where I want to be sitting right now, speaking to you, talking about what we're doing at the Pro Bowl. And that's just the reality of it. I do see a Super Bowl in my future. I want to be a Super Bowl champion. And it's very upsetting that I'm even here happening to speak to y'all and trying to say if I really care about the game and if I'm showing up in playoffs. I challenge anyone to actually go look at the game film and say, did Micah play his heart out in that game, and what more could I have done? It's sad, man, that you lose the way you do, especially at home, talking about how much we played at home, how much it stood for us to be at home, and to go out like that at home was completely embarrassing and unacceptable. So, I couldn't even look at that loss or feel any type of way because of how embarrassed I felt. I felt the utmost, man, it was just, honestly, it took me a while to even be able to show my face in the public. I disappeared completely.
Man, incognito for just over a week. That was Micah Parsons on the edge. So much there, RJ. And we're going to talk about that as we head into the Super Bowl week. How much of these Dallas Cowboys storylines are going to play through with all of our guests? We're talking about it next. He's RJ. I'm Rob. Go grab a snack. We continue next right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Talk.
The Sports Star Boys are headed to Vegas for the big game.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
This Monday, Rob and RJ and Jason and Joe are heading to Sin City and Radio Row for the big game with security provided by AA Best Bail Bonds.
Let's go to Vegas. We'll all get drunk and
yeah. Woo!
think you gonna get away with it? Not up in here.
Not up in here! Powered by AA Best Bail Bonds, Synergenics, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
What would you do if you weren't afraid is a very important question to consider. The reason to consider it is because life has a nasty habit of presenting us with opportunities for our fears to rise to the surface and either stop us cold in our tracks or completely derail us. Digging down into why and what we fear can uncover some life-changing moments where we not only discover some important things about ourselves, but learn some lessons about life. Eventually, we will all face tragedy and setback. No one goes untouched, but some folks will closet themselves off in denial and self-deception. Others, on the other hand, will realize that what they face is really bigger than what they can handle and invite God into the crisis. And when they get to the other side, they realize that they're not afraid to love and to be loved. They're not afraid to be hopeful about life because the fear of going it alone is gone. God is with them. This is Mark Absher, the MacArthur Park Church of Christ, encouraging you to face your fears. Visit our church online at macarthurchurch.org. The MacArthur Park Church of Christ, connecting God and people.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure that you'll get your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt!
And Jackson Hewitt also guarantees the accuracy of your return for life. So don't just sit there. For your biggest refund guaranteed, walk into a Jackson Hewitt today and dance out Jackson Hewitt! Yeah!
This is Rob Thompson. I'm here with my brother, Jason, a practicing attorney in San Antonio for 30 years. Jason, what does that mean?
What it means is I've been representing people and families here in San Antonio injured in auto, truck, motorcycle collisions, serious injury, death accidents, taking those families and helping them through some of the worst times of their life. I've been practicing law in San Antonio for so long. I remember when the Cowboys were champions.
Seriously.
And a great staff that handles kind of the blocking and tackling of what it takes to represent clients. There are so many phone calls that need to be made, so many connections you have to have between insurance companies, physicians, opposing lawyers, relationships that you build over 30 years with adjusters, with insurance companies, with defense attorneys, with local judges. When I represent a client, they know that I'm lending my name, my reputation built on 30 years of experience to that client to get them justice.
It's Jason Thompson, alawyer4us.com. Call him at 210-900-0400, alawyer4us.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. It's matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
What's wrong, Cupid?
Chris, I've lost my mojo. These arrows just don't work like they used to. The facts are people fall in love thanks to Connecticut, not poor old Cupid.
You don't say.
Oh, absolutely. Look over there. She's got silky smooth hair thanks to a Connecticut water softener. He's got softer skin and cleaner clothes, and now they're all lovey-dovey. Makes me sick.
Don't feel bad, Cupid. You still have your bow and arrow.
I'll rub it in, Chris. I know a Connecticut runs on kinetic energy like my bow and arrow. There's no computer to break. A Connecticut has it all.
This is Chris Canepa with Connecticut and San Antonio in the Hill Country. There's a reason people love their Connecticut. Right now, I'll let you try one for 90 days, absolutely free with no contract. Just call 656-PURE.
You know, you're right, Chris. I love my Connecticut, too. My diaper has never looked so white. And my wings, oh, I look good.
Cupid, you can always come to work for me.
You serious, Chris?
But you're going to have to wear pants.
ConnecticutSA.com.
KTFM Floresville. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, your home for the Aggies. San Antonio's Sports Center.
In the NFL, Dan Quinn, current Dallas Cowboy defensive coordinator, sits in wait as he completed his second interview earlier this week with the Commanders. He just wants to know if he's got a job there. So do we. The Houston Astros did a thing. They picked up a battered Trey Cabbage out of the PCL. He had 30 homers and 30 stolen bases last year in AAA. We like to say that's putting sauerkraut on the dog.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas Authority in Barricade Rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
This is R&R in the morning.
Man in motion, handoff, Pollard coming right. Bang, zoom, touchdown Cowboys.
Wembanyama about 3 feet behind the line. Got it.
It's R&R in the morning with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you. It's Rob and RJ right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Don't mind them brake lights. We'll get you where you're going. Ease where you're headed because we got stuff to do. Damontre Moore, a former NFL player and Aggie great, going to join us at 8:30 as we look forward to Super Bowl LVIII. We'll also have KJ Wright in the building about 9:15. Stay tuned for all of that. First and foremost, we're looking forward to a fun Super Bowl week as the focus will start to really zero in on Las Vegas as the players and teams are going to head out over the weekend. They'll probably all arrive Sunday or Monday, depending. The normal schedule of things when we hit the radio row, the media row, which is the more appropriate term, is Monday night is media night. Monday night is the night where the circus begins, where they allow the players to go sit in small groups, and they are circled and hounded by international press for the approximately an hour and a half per. It's a long evening on Monday night. When we arrive and are walking the floor, first and foremost, storylines with the Super Bowl. But this is also a time for NFL chatter as well. What do you envision will be the storyline with the Cowboys by the time we get to Vegas? Will a decision have been made by Dan Quinn? Will Micah come to terms with his embarrassment? Will McCarthy come out swinging? What do you expect the talk's going to be as we head out? Because I have an interesting thought on what I heard from Greeny yesterday.
So first of all, I wanted to say that media night is being held, at least for the first time since I've done this, at the stadium. At the Super Bowl
I think it's
stadium.
because it's proximity. It's one of the first times we're really right there.
I really enjoyed in Houston, in Miami, it was in the baseball ballparks, which was cool and just kind of, way to spice it up. But so it'll be cool to check out Allegiant.
To actually be in the building. Yeah, right there, right behind.
Right.
So,
but as far as Cowboy storylines, I do think that we'll have an answer on Dan Quinn one way or another, whether he is officially returning or the head coach of the Washington Commanders. We have pre-writes ready for both circumstances at bloggingtheboys.com.
It's like having the obit ready.
But so I think we'll know. I don't know that we'll get any other heavy storyline because that's Monday. I mean, it's already Thursday. I don't think the big Cowboy storyline will drop until CeeDee Lamb makes his way through the car wash. If Dak Prescott's going to do the car wash, if Micah Parsons is going to do the car wash. But I do think that Micah's comments are starting to, this is the first 24-hour cycle. His comments led Get Up this morning because he said he was embarrassed. He didn't show his face up until it came time to do the podcast. And
which, okay, you're embarrassed. I want you to be ashamed and embarrassed, but the fact of the matter is you lost. And there's so many things that as we went to break, we listened to it. You didn't take anything away from the fact that he said, everybody coming at me saying, why aren't you playing linebacker? Hey, I don't call the plays. I don't call the schemes. And he went beyond that. He said, everything we did in reaction to what they did, they reacted to us better. I mean, we got foiled by strategy, by scheme, and by player. I mean, he said so the scheme and the staff bears a lot of blame for this.
I think there are two types of deflection in circumstances like this. We talked about type A yesterday, and you can listen to that conversation in the podcast that we threw up at Blogging the Boys. You can also listen to our podcast in our audio vault, sasportstar.com. Make sure to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, pay the like tax, et cetera, et cetera. There are multiple ways to access our show, not just during the live portion of it, but obviously after the fact, because we know you're busy. I mean, we're offended deeply if you're not here live, but if you can't be, you have alternative options. That being said, type A kind of deflection is purposeful deflection, is deflecting onto somebody else, right? Like, you better not put this blood on my hands. Yeah. You better put it on somebody else's hands. I think that Jerry and Steven are totally down, totally cognizant, totally conscious about putting all of the blame on Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons. They want it on their superstars so that people come at them and say, how dare you pay them all this money, et cetera, et cetera. Then I think there's just general deflection, type B. And that's what I think we heard from Micah Parsons on his podcast. I think Micah is this is anyone's fault but mine. I don't care whose fault you want to ascribe it to be, but I'm perfect. I'm infallible. I did my job. I'm doing everything that's asked of me. I'm giving 100% effort. There's no way that I am the problem. Does that make sense? That there are two different kinds? There's deflection with a direction, and then there's just, I don't care where this heat lands, but it's not on me.
The irony of this is kind of built in because it wasn't me. Check the tape. Hey, go look at the tape. I did everything I could.
Also, if anyone were to challenge him on that, I guarantee he'd be like, you don't know what you're watching.
I'd like to. Now, there's a peripheral former Dallas Cowboy player, and he's peripheral. I don't know how much to take from it. There's a podcast called Ray Ray's podcast. A guy named Jesse Holley. Years old. He played it at one point. RJ reminded me that this is the dude that won the Michael Irvin reality show to be a football player.
So he was on the team for a handful of years.
Jesse Holley is his name.
He does some stuff with DallasCowboys.com. He's done stuff with the Fan. He's now doing stuff. Mm-hmm. He's got his hands in a lot of cookie jars. He's hustling. Good for him.
So I prefaced it with what he said. He called Micah the most selfish player on the Dallas Cowboys.
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that personally.
Because he won't play linebacker. And there's too much responsibility.
I have zero interest in Micah playing linebacker. That's why I don't know that this is a weird hill to even climb up and examine.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But what about, but not so much about the position, but what about just general selfishness? Did that come across to you as a selfish football player?
No, I don't think Micah's selfish.
I don't think he is.
I think he's young and, I wouldn't use the word immature, but I think he's young and he's experiencing being an embarrassment for the first time. And that's not a fun place to be.
Do you get the slightest sense that he's upset with Dan Quinn, that he's mad at the position that he was put in because his coach or coaches couldn't put him in a scheme that would be successful, that he was forced to do other things other than go help the win or whatever the case might be? Did you get that sense?
I know that his brother tweeted out a practically notarized illegal statement that he doesn't speak for Micah. But his brother has gone at Dan Quinn a lot on Twitter. And so again, it's a leap, but it's not a ridiculous leap to suggest that Micah might share some of those feelings. I know I share some of those feelings. So I can't imagine how Micah would be in love with Dan Quinn right now. Micah had said somewhat tongue in cheek how, when he was being asked about Dan Quinn being asked to interview, hey, I might go with him. And again, kind of tongue in cheek, but did Micah come out and say, oh man, I hope we don't lose Dan. I hope Dan's back. I hope Dan this, Dan that, Dan whatever. No, everyone kind of, the water has to escape somewhere, Rob. You keep calling it wanting blood. I would deem it this way because the water is pent up and it's got to go out somewhere. It's got to escape. And we need to find that escape hatch. Somebody has to be at fault for this. It can't be, oh, I did all my job. I did everything correctly. I was perfect. I was right. Dan Quinn's great. Dan Quinn's awesome. Dak is awesome. Dak is perfect. CD's great. Mike McCarthy had it all right. You didn't have it all right. You were down 27-0 while riding a 27-year, drought of not being in the NFC Championship game. So somebody has to have been wrong. It can't just be that the Packers were great and the Packers were amazing. There has to be some fallibility on your side of the field, and nobody wants to say it. And what's more is Micah won't even say I'm partly at fault. Micah's out here saying none of it is on me.
I did all I
pick
could.
Whoever you want it to be.
With that in mind, how much does that play in? If he's going to be selfish and Jerry calls him and says, hey man, Dan Quinn didn't get the Commander's job. I haven't gone. Jerry hasn't, he's kind of intimated he'd like to have Quinn back, but he hadn't closed the door on letting him go. And he asks Micah, hey man, what do you think? Should I keep him or not? What do you think Micah's going to say? And will Jerry listen to that? Because that's where the money's going.
What do I think Micah's going to say if Dan Quinn leaves?
Well, no. If Jerry asks, hey, man, should we keep Micah? Should we keep DQ after all this? And because it's up to you. You're going to be here longer than he is because I'll tell you, I'm going to pay you. So now that he's here, I could fire him and go find somebody, or you could keep playing for him. What do you think?
I think Jerry's going to say, you're one of the best players. I don't think they really want to move on from. I don't think they want to move on from Micah in any way.
No. I'm Jerry's asking Micah. I could fire DQ. I could keep DQ. What do you think? What do you think Micah answers?
I think they all probably just keep. I think it's easiest to, ride the wave right now. Okay. And not that it's moving. This is one of those waves that like Schlitterbahn, the ones that the machine generates. You know what I'm saying? They're not that big, but like it's easy to just
we're all
do
in.
more of the same.
Let's do it again one more time.
The easiest thing is continuum here, right? Just continue where we're going.
Okay, with DQ, that we'll see, because I think it all hinges on the Commanders, obviously. I heard yesterday Greeny talking about Dak Prescott and the situation that he finds himself, everything that is with the Dallas Cowboys. And he said he wouldn't be surprised if Dak walked in to Jerry and says, trade me. I don't want to play here anymore. These are 4 teams I'll go to. It's worked for Aaron Rodgers. And I would like to go elsewhere. This is what happened yesterday. I want to get your response on this. Is this even a feasible outside the realm possibility? But listen to Mike.
If I'm Dak Prescott, I am genuinely thinking I need to get up out of here. Not next year, but now. If I go to Jerry and say, I'm not doing my contract with you. You want me to play for you next year? We're going to do it in the last year of my contract. And my cap number is going to be $59.5 million. And if I'm Dak and I got problems with my star on offense and my star on defense, and the owner is saying this stuff about me, and I could go get whatever my contract that I want long-term is in any of a handful of other places right now, I do it. I walk in there and say, trade me. And here's a list of places I'm going.
Would it be outlandish?
I do not think it's outlandish to suggest that somebody would be annoyed that is in Dak Prescott's situation, because you've taken a lot of arrows. You've obviously had your own faults and flaws. I'm not disputing that, but you've taken a lot of arrows in the name of the Joneses and in the name of just kind of general incompetence around you. And so I would also add, and I'm going to say this because I know people, Dak sucks, stinking Dak, blah, blah, blah. Your insults aren't creative here, people. Come up with creative ones. And I'm not opposed.
We're out of
to,
them. There's no more.
Yeah, just come up with some new ones. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for them to stop. But if I'm Dak Prescott, I just turned in an MVP. I'm going to finish second in MVP voting. A week from today, Dak Prescott will finish second in MVP voting. And my owner / my general manager won't publicly endorse me. That would really piss you off. I mean, would it not? Like if you played that well, and we can all sit here and dispute and argue about Dak Prescott, but from an objective, measurable standpoint, he just turned in what will categorically be the second best season that any player had in the NFL based off of MVP voting. He is literally the second team All-Pro quarterback. I mean, only one single player bested you in that capacity, and your owner won't come out and be like, I cannot wait to extend him. That would grind your gears if you were Dak Prescott. So
or Joe Reinagle.
Or Joe Reinagle. Yeah. So I could see any human being fed up with that and saying, I would just like to go somewhere where my efforts are appreciated. I could see feeling unappreciated.
It doesn't, when you put it like that, RJ, and you need to, certainly his brother sees it that way. It doesn't seem as outlandish when you just put it on its face. When you just hear Greeny say, you go, you got to be kidding me, man. That you want to talk about biting the hand that feeds you. You want to get traded from Dallas, really? Because it could be a lot worse. I mean, you think it's bad now. Where do you land in the netherworlds of San Diego or wherever it might be? Yeah, you think it's bad now.
San Diego, not the home. Everybody still thinks the Chargers play in San Diego. It's one of those things. That's
I was just trying to find a
right.
non-official city that wouldn't bend one way or the other.
It pays more to be talked about negatively if you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys than it does anything else. But that also comes at a price, and I don't think anybody would deny that. I mean, your family's talked about, your brother has to deal with it on Twitter. People are talking about your significant other and your child to be. I mean, things that in most walks of life would generate nothing but positivity and great conversation are smushed because people are mean on the internet.
Hey, let's talk some NBA. The gumbo, the fast break is beginning. We'll look at the Spurs. They went down last night after a valiant yet futile effort to bounce back from a previous run prior to that. They get another L. Kevin Durant played like his mama was watching. last night and against a Brooklyn Net team with uniforms I couldn't quite figure out. And we have a fix for the Joel Embiid MVP, not enough games issue. That's all next. You ready? We'll be right back.
No.
This is RJ and Rob. You're on 94.1, San Antonio Sports Star. It's not the big game weekend, but it's the prep weekend, right? If you're going to be cooking on Super Bowl big game weekend, you need to do a little practice. I want you to practice with the very best ingredients, though. I want you to head over to Tri-County Meat Market this weekend to get your game in order, because a great meal always starts with great meat coming out of those coolers at either one of those great Tri-County locations. Huebner Road, Ralph Fair, both waiting on you. Specials every week. Meat cut to your order. If you've ever wanted to get something unique to do for a big meal, maybe one of those big rack of rib roasts that you can tie off and do that you can't find at the big box grocery stores, they'll do that for you. You want a 4-inch cut steak instead of a 3-inch, they'll cut that for you. You want little tiny thin steaks, they'll do that too. And it'll all be the best meat you're going to find. You're looking for something absolutely unique or something to fill your refrigerator, like the 5 for $25, which is a deal that's always in play. 5 items in a bag is $25. I promise you there's 2 meals in the bag. That's the best deal in San Antonio. The weekly specials in the meat counter, all the fantastic rubs that you won't find other places, and then the exotic stuff coming from locally sourced locales out of Louisiana, all the stuff that you might want Cajun. They've got it too. It's worth a stop every week. It's worth a stop to take advantage of the specials. Head over to Tri-County Meat Market, either location. A great meal starts with great meat coming from Tri-County. I know it. You need to learn it. Head over there today, and you'll thank me later.
If you miss the Blitz with Jason and Joe, then you miss this.
Sean Elliott joining us here on the Blitz 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Clearly the year hasn't gone the way most of us thought. Why do you think this team hasn't been able to win more games?
Well, I think there are a lot of things that go into it. I think it's the mindset. It's basketball IQ. We're not there yet. And, you know, what I would like to see, Jason, I'd like to see us learn from our mistakes. And, you know, that hasn't been consistent enough.
Right home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Hey, it's Rob Thompson here for SA Card House. Over there on San Pedro, you know where it is, 13400 San Pedro right there at Bitters. One of my favorite places to go for a lot of reasons. It's not just about the restaurant and the bar, which is a reason to be. It's not just about the atmosphere and the great games and all the prizes that go along with being a San Antonio Card House member. It's a vibe. It's a thing that you get, whether you're a brand new player. They have brand new classes for you to get you interested in playing, to teach you how to play the game. They got great membership rates. They've got food to serve at great atmosphere while you're playing, or if you just bring your friends and family to play. But it's an atmosphere of success and fun, and that's why I go to SA Card House, and that's why you need to give them a try. Go check out their website, sacardhouse.com, but you're not going to know until you go. It's a private social club waiting for you to come and play. It's at Bitters in San Pedro. It is my SA Card House. Head there today. Thank me later.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
This is Rob Thompson. I'm here with my brother, Jason Thompson, a lawyerforus.com.
I'm a lawyer for you. I've helped you.
Yes, he has, and many others here in San Antonio. And that's why I'm so glad I get a chance to talk to you today about what happens when you get into an accident.
It's overwhelming for everybody involved. You have this paralysis of what to do next, who to talk to, how do you get medical care, or you're in the hospital and who's going to pay for this? It's this swirl of anxiety, and many times it's even worse than the injury itself. You have to help people through that situation. And I tell every client the same thing. Don't worry. I've got this. I will take care of this. Just worry about your family. Just worry about getting healthy. If I can do that for you and maximize your recovery, you stay in business, you keep clients. And for 30 years, I've kept every client I've ever had. I don't lose clients. I represent their family and friends because that's how seriously I take my job.
A lawyerforus.com. You can find him at 210-900-0400. That's 210-900-0400. Jason Thompson, a lawyerforus.com.
The Australian Pink Floyd Show. First class traveling set world tour 2024. August 22nd, Boeing Center at Techport. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. The Australian Pink Floyd Show.
This is Jim Rome. Join me weekdays at noon on my new home, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Damontre Moore, former Aggie, former NFL stars on the 49ers on that Super Bowl run not too many years ago, are going to join us in just a couple of minutes as we look toward the Super Bowl. Look up at College Station, see what's been going on since the transition was in effect. A good guy. We can't wait to have him. The Spurs go down last night in what was not an unexpected loss. The way they managed it was interesting. It kept us going. The roller coaster up and down. They start fast. They get it even about 57, 59 all or so, give up about 20 points, spot them a little bit, then figure out for about 15 minutes or so how to play real NBA basketball and get it close enough to where you think there's a chance. And, of course, the L to close. Wemby offered his typical point a minute. Devin Vassell scored a lot of buckets. And for a while there, it was a fun basketball game to watch, but the imminent collapse and unexpected loss to close.
You have a weird definition of fun. It was a really horrible third quarter that was softened and made better and gave us unrealistic and unbelievable hope that was ultimately faulty.
You know,
it was horrible. As I said out loud, how was it fun? It wasn't fun at all.
But they followed that up by taking the punch in the mouth, whether it was, they punched themselves or the other team did, with a reasonably good run of basketball. And for a team that for about 20 minutes looked like they forgot how to play the game, and then to find a lineup that clicked and get, some shots made, and for about 20 minutes play like you had a pair, it was a fun bit. Now, in my mind, it felt like it was closer than it was, though it wasn't, the 10-point stretch by the end. But they did cut it down to 3 with about 4 minutes to go. Now, you're telling me that mathematically, according to the algorithms that know such things, the Spurs were never really threatening, even though the scoreboard showed you the timeouts that were still there, the foul problems that the Spurs had. It wasn't going to end right. But I didn't feel like that. I thought they got back to the point where it was at least competitive, and it took some gumption to do that.
The lowest that the Magic's win probability dropped in the final 5 minutes of the game was 78.4% at that moment. That was right after Jeremy made a 2-point shot to narrow the gap to 3. It was 99-96 after Jeremy's shot went in, 3:27 left in the fourth. And the numbers looked at that and were like, oh, yeah, Magic's still going to crush these dudes. And they did.
Looking around the rest of the league, Joel Embiid has been as good as anybody in the world, MVP level play. And he's running into the load management rule. If you
have an idea about this?
I do. He's, the 65 game minimum to get to be eligible for MVP and all that. And for a lot of guys, it matters for contracts. You need to have those kind of things in your on your resume to get the big money, those super maxes. Joel has already gotten that, but he has the opportunity to go get another MVP. And it appears that this rule that was constructed for others who are just looking for nights off, Kawhi, that will apply to a guy that's legitimately hurt and needs to take some time off. Here's the answer. For guys like Kawhi or Joel or anything, when you are injured and you miss more than, say, we can set a line, 4 or 5 games, it's a stretch where you're out and you're legitimately injured for those 5 games. Those should only count a percentage.
A streak, you're saying?
You're out for 2 weeks. You rolled an ankle. You're hurt, and you're going to miss 10 days. Those should only count for maybe a quarter or a half toward the total load management loss of the percentage of games. So if you're taking nights off, that's a full point. You get a full game against you because I'm tired. But if you roll an ankle, those 2 weeks shouldn't count full. I mean, you're legitimate. This isn't load management. This is injury. We have some sound from Draymond Green. We're going to play in the 9 o'clock hour that kind of describes that. But this is an easy fix. And I think there should be a dispensation for Joel Embiid. I think we need to clarify whether there's injuries or malingering, just acting hurt so you can get a night off.
I think I don't think it's an easy fix at all. I think it still runs into problems and ambiguity and,
Yeah, you're not alone.
But I mean, it's a bummer. I mean, if you want to see great athletes play basketball, it sucks.
I mean, we want them to play, but we also want them to be healthy. But at the same time, mirror what your guys before you did. They all managed to play a lot of games, but I do get the upset. But on the other side of that, guys sometimes get legitimately injured. He's not trying to miss. He's not tired. He just needs some time to get some R&R, as it were. Hey, let's talk to a former NFL player of great repute. Damontre Moore is going to join us. He played for the Aggies. He was up in Seattle. He played for the 49ers and has been around the Super Bowl. Let's look forward and look all around the football world with a guy that's always a pleasure to talk to. Damontre Moore next, right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Spring Golf Classic is set Monday, March 25th at Golf Club of Texas with plenty of prizes, including a shot at $50,000 in a trip to the big game. Go to sasportstar.com and get signed up. A 4-person scramble, $120 per player to join, or a group of 4 can sign up together for $400. It's the San Antonio Spring Golf Classic, benefiting the Will Smith Foundation. Monday, March 25th, presented by Flight by Yingling and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
What's he talking about here? He's talking about Asian.
It wasn't me that started that old crazy Asian war.
I mean, isn't that racist?
No, I think it was a crazy Asian war, was it not?
It wasn't.
It wasn't Oriental.
What would make it Oriental?
If they fried it with bell pepper and pineapple and added sweet and sour sauce, that would make it Oriental.
The John Clay Wolf Show, every Saturday morning.
Catch the John Clay Wolf Show, Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon, right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
No amount of money can make up for a life-changing injury. I'm George Salinas, and at George Salinas Injury Lawyers, our team of attorneys will fight to get you the maximum compensation because we prepare and we care. So if you've been injured in an accident, get George. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers today at 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com.
My name is Dustin. I'm the head designer for Cody James Black Boots, and this is Behind the Design with Boot Barn. The objective with this new line was basically to create a collection of boots that were going to be elevated, quality made, using the finest materials and craftsmanship available. Some of the key quality construction details that carry throughout the line would be premium cowhide lining, hand-nailed leather soles, and simplistic design. Cody James Black, only at Boot Barn.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth. And if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
When a cold keeps you up, try NyQuil Severe Honey Flavor. The nighttime, sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, Honeylicious, best sleep with a cold medicine. Powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a dreamy honey taste to give your body the rest it needs to get that cold gone. Wake up refreshed, feeling relieved after enjoying the delicious flavor of NyQuil Severe Honey. NyQuil Severe Honey Flavor, use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund is belong to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right?
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Ooh, pass me the intercom thingy.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Don't pay for water, pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods.
Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
This is Andrew Monaco, and you're listening to the home of the Aggies, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
We are the home of the Aggies, a long-time home. I'm Rob Thompson. He's RJ Ochoa. We're glad you're with us. Huddle up. We got somebody to talk to. As we get ready to head to Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58, we would like to welcome on the show a man who's been to a couple of championship weeks. Former Aggie, been around the NFL for a long time. Currently, you're playing up in Canada, right? I'd like to welcome in Damontre Moore. Genuine honor to have you on, sir. A pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Yes, sir. I'm currently playing in Canada right now for the Calgary Stampeders.
Last time I saw you, you were holding up a Grey Cup a couple years back.
Yes, sir. 2 years ago with the Toronto Organized, I was blessed to win the championship. So trying to give me another one before I get out of here.
Well, congratulations on a very productive and long NFL career. And you spent time on both, you've been on the 49ers, you spent some time with the Dallas Cowboys. So let's kind of lean into where we're headed in the Super before I get some Aggie questions in. When you compare what franchises look like, and you've been on championships, you've been on good teams, you've been on bad teams. What do you see when you see San Francisco and the way they've become great? And what do you see in Kansas City and the way they've maintained this greatness? And what's the differentiation between the two?
That's an excellent question. What do I see as far as San Francisco and the organization and what they built? I see consistency and I see a dynasty. San Francisco, back in the day, during that era where they had some immaculate battles with the Dallas Cowboys, and Kyle Shanahan has come through and built that tradition and kind of, built on the foundation that was already there. Before Kyle was there, they did make it to the championship and conference titles a couple times with Kaepernick. And so with him going there, the only thing he's done is he's improved that formula, and he's done it more consistently. For the last 4 to 5 years, we constantly been like, hey, at the start of the season, that defensive line and that offense that's over there with all those weapons, we expect them to at least be in the conference championship, if not Super Bowl, and they've done that exceedingly and abundantly. Hopefully this year is the time that they can actually get over the hump and now win that ring. As far as what I see within Kansas City, you kind of see another organization that mirrors that. Like, they expect greatness. Andy Reid has established that foundation and built them into a dynasty to where they've been to the last 4 out of. They won they won the last 4 out of 6, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken with that stat, but the last
right
Patrick Mahomes. since Patrick Mahomes has been in the league, that has been the minimum expectation, and he's won it. And so with him having that consistency, not only having that consistency with all the tremendous weapons around him, when the tremendous weapons have left, he's still proving that, hey, I'm that guy. This team only goes as far as I'm driving it. If I'm at the helm, relax, we're in good hands. And not only that, once he lost his weapons and then he proved that he can win without his weapons, they said, hey, this guy can't win on the road. This man has went on the road and done this. And so now we're watching greatness right in front of our eyes. I can only imagine how people felt when they were watching Tom Brady go to all those conference championships back to back and saying it was his defense, then it was Tom. Well, we're watching the second coming of Tom, but not only it being Tom, yes, he has a good defense and stuff like that, but he's been a game changer since he stepped on the field, where Tom had to grow into being a game changer. So for me, I argue we're seeing a once in a generational talent that might not ever be replicated again. People said that about Tom, but this guy has come through and killed since day one. Tom had to lean on his defense when he first got into the league. And don't get me wrong, he definitely made the plays. Somebody had to do the throws. But for this guy to go in there and command the attention, the talent, he instantly changes the talent of offense. Sorry.
Damontre, that's all, really impressive. And obviously that's why we're so excited for next Sunday. You've been in the NFL and you've done all sorts of things and experienced all sorts of, people and walks of life and done so in the social media era. And something, what's valuable in terms of talking to professionals like you is to see how things really go, because we have assumptions. I'm very curious. The Cowboys have been in the headlines, obviously, since their season ended for family members of players saying things on the internet. Not necessarily about the Cowboys, but when stuff like that happens, because I'm certain that happened, on teams you were or have been on, whatever the case may be. Is that something that you talk about in the locker room? Like, do you say, I can't believe, John's brother or, James's mother or whoever is saying this about whoever? Like, is that a thing in locker rooms?
I'll be remiss if I say it's not a thing, like it's completely oblivious. But the one thing that you do have is that brotherhood. So yes, of course, when you see something, if it's very outlandish and it bothers somebody, that person might not say something, but somebody will bring it to attention. You'll have a quick conversation about it. And as long as you know where your brothers stand, we don't care about the outside noises. If that's family, media, whoever it is, like, you block it out. When you walk through those doors, that's what it is. So that's going to happen day in and day out, but the good teams ignore that and don't let that affect
the good teams, for sure. Damontre Moore, he's been on his share of good teams. He was All-American at Texas A&M, third-round pick in 2013, still playing today. Spent a lot of time on different teams and have seen a success in a lot of different ways, and even went on a Super Bowl run. When you look at what took success, and I want to look at some coaches that you've played for before, and as we've gone through, and you played for Pete Carroll. He's a unique kind of coach. You've been with Kyle Shanahan. You played for him. Dan Campbell too. You've been around in a variety of ways from either A&M and around the league. What makes Dan Campbell different as a Lions coach, and how different is he from Kyle Shanahan? Because I get the sense those guys would only be able to talk football, and anything else, they're not on a different wave, like on the same plane. You know what I mean? Two entirely different cats, but both very successful in their ways.
Yes, sir. That's a great question. How is Dan Campbell and Kyle Shanahan different? First off, they're completely different, but they're still one and the same. They're both player coaches and player oriented. They listen to their team. They listen to how their bodies are responding. They listen to what the vets are saying on the team and what we need to do to get better. But where they differ, I would say, is that Dan Campbell has been in the smoke. He still has a active player mindset. So you can tell by just the simple clips going viral, him doing up downs at the beginning of training camp with his team. And then you can see the way he has the juice. I played with Kelvin Shepard in Miami with Dan Campbell when he was our interim head coach, and the same energy that he's displaying on that sideline then when we were playing, and now that Kevin Shepard is on his staff, you see it there. And I ask him all the time, like, hey, is he the same guy? And he's like, Dan hasn't switched up. And he stayed true to what he is. And so that's what's made him such a good coach. And vice versa with Kyle. He's a little bit more kind of laid back. I call him the Mad Hatter, the way he draws his plays. But he's really cool, calm, collected. But the one tidbit about him, people talk about Mike McDaniel's shoes down in Miami. Well, Kyle has a crazier shoe game than him, and the way that he rocks his Yeezys is kind of his playing style.
Well, that's cool. Kyle's cool, but our favorite football Kyle, Damontre, is Kyle Field. And so I'm very curious to understand your thoughts on the Aggies. It has been, we'll call it an interesting few months, and the outlook is interesting. And interesting is really the only word that I can use that is kind of nice. How are you feeling about your alum as they get set for, what is hopefully a better 2024?
How do I feel about my alma mater? Well, man, when I say the best way to describe this is either you can call it a roller coaster or airplane turbulence. You know, you have your ups and downs and it gets a little shaky. We didn't know who was going to be our head coach. We made the decision in Mike Elko, and us making that decision, phenomenal. I am ecstatic when I tell you the excitement I have about Mike Elko, to see the success he had when he went up there to Duke. And then not only what he did at Duke with the amenities he's had, think about what's going to happen when you get all the amenities that the Texas A&M can offer, our alumni base, NIL deal, and the talent level is going to be significantly better. Like, if you could turn pennies to oranges, then what are you going to do once you get these quarters and dollar bills over here? So I'm excited. He's already showed that he's on the right step. As the #1 recruiting class coming out of the transfer portal, he immediately improved, in my opinion. Our weakest point on the team, which was our secondary, instantly improved them with all the nice recruits that we come in. And the most important thing is he's built a staff that's proven time and time again that they can develop players. And that's been the biggest knock on A&M. We've been able to get the talent in, but we haven't been able to develop our own talent. And he's proven time and time again. You see all these guys in the NFL, Micah Carter, Donovan Wilson, me, other guys speaking out on him and the tremendous job he did. So I asked my fans to be a little patient. I know it wasn't the big name that everybody was trying to go for, but I think this right here is what we need, is somebody that embodies A&M.
He is the pride of Rowlett High, a fighting Texas Aggie and current NFL professional, joining us here on San Antonio Sports Star, Damontre Moore. As an alumni and a former football player with the team, tell me about the unity with the alumni group as Elko was brought in, and the role you guys are playing and bringing this, what we are as Aggies back to where they should be. And the role of you as guys that have been there and done that, especially in the era that you've been and did, when we were on riding that wave of mighty high back in 12, 13, 14.
I'm to be honest with you, I'm speechless because we're not doing anything. Everything that you're seeing right now is a product of Elko. I mean, us as alumni, we're doing our part as far as speaking highly on the recruits. If we do, see somebody on social media and stuff like that, but there's only so much we can do with the NCAA rules and stuff like that. But I would say where we're doing stuff and we're not doing stuff, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Tony Gerard-Eddy, who is an alumni that just got hired as the defensive line coach. Right. You have Jordan Peterson that's there. So those guys are the ones that's really putting in the groundwork, going in there recruiting and showing guys that they actually played there, but they loved it so much that they came back there and ready to coach, but not only coach and win. And so when you have those guys doing that, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said we're not doing anything. Our job is to go out there and ball out at the next level. See how long we can have that longevity. So when you tell the recruits, like, hey, we got guys over here not only getting their degree, hopefully Elko picks up from Coach Sherman and says, like, hey, you guys are going to be talented enough to leave and go professional early, but we're going to honor your scholarship to come back and get your degree. So that's where we do our part, is where we get our degree before we go professional. A lot of the guys that's coming back, I'm still working on mine. Ty Warren came back and got his degree. So like that's doing its part within itself. And not to mention that you have the success of Von Miller in the NFL, Myles Garrett, who is the defensive player, the defensive MVP of the league, Tannehill that has this longevity, and the list goes on and on. That's how we do our part, by going in there and showing them that we're the cream of the crop and everybody wants to be a winner. So the back end helps the front and the front end helps the back, is what we say in the D-line room. Well, that's what Elko's doing right now. He's doing his part, and he's putting people into the league, and the people in the league are having the success, and that's making the recruits want to come. And then you're doing it in the best, arguably the best division in college, in SEC football, the hardest football to be played and there's getting you ready for Sunday night, the next level.
I'm ready, baby. Bring on Notre Dame. I'm fired up. He is Damontre Moore, current NFL player playing in Canada, former fighting Texas Aggie, talking about what's going on.
Damontre, last one here. You talk about longevity, and it's happening, for the Aggies, not just on a player level, but a coaching level. Gerard Johnson, we had a lot of Texans fans that listen to the show. Really, really, really hyped up. And I think, I know it's a little bit before your time, but his Aggie teams kind of slept on. But J-Train, Mike Goodson, Tannehill before he made the switch. I mean, everything was really fun around Gerard Johnson. Based on what you've heard, Mike Sherman, of course. Based on what
don't disrespect. I was there with him now.
Oh no, you're part of it. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But I think of the 07 team. That's what I think. That's why I said a little bit before your time. Just a teeny bit. But again, your interactions, because so many Texans fans are so in on CJ Stroud, and everybody was so excited about Bobby Slowick staying. But Gerard is a huge name in and of himself, and obviously the growth he's had in the coaching profession.
Yes, you're right. You hit the nail, the hammer on the nail. Gerard has had a significant part in developing CJ Stroud, and it's funny because I was texting in my group chat. I texted him this week. We talked about it a few years ago of how he just wanted to elevate as a coach. So to see him go from Indianapolis to going over here to having the best player because of you, people got to realize that Gerard is having the success that he's having because one, he was mentioned for the Heisman and was in the race before he had his injury. He did get to play behind Tannehill after he had his injury, but not only did he play behind him, he actually coached Tannehill up because there was only so much that he can do. And then for a number of years, he was one of the best QB coaches in the Houston-Katy area. So for him to want to come back, that shows his loyalty, that shows his commitment. He wants to finish what he started right there in his hometown, in the home area, with arguably, if not the best quarterback in the league, one of the top premier talents that's coming up. And the sky's the limit for him. He's had to see his coaching journey go from coaching the guys in the area to, like I said, working with the Indianapolis Colts, then going to the Vikings and working with them, and then going to the Texans. It just shows you of the extent of knowledge and how good he is at his job.
As are you.
He goes off to him.
Damontre, man, extraordinary. Thanks you so much for stopping by. Will you do a favor and come back?
Oh, definitely, man. I would love to. I appreciate y'all for having me.
Damontre Moore stopping by, talking football with one of the Aggie legends and current professional football playing in Canada. Spent a long time in the league. Trust what he has to say. It's been a genuine pleasure, my brother. Stay safe. We look forward to talking to you soon. That is Damontre Moore right here on San Antonio Sports Star. We're just going to continue looking at the NFL at 9:15. KJ Wright gets here. I'm sure he'll have some thoughts on a brand new head coach up there with the Seahawks. And as we progress towards the Super Bowl, some thoughts as we get closer and closer there. Looking around the league, we're the eager expectation for the Washington Commanders to make a decision. I think the clock is seriously ticking. Is there anybody on the rosters that are still playing as far as the coaches that they could be holding out for?
It's tough to see in terms of these two rosters. It's strange. We haven't, the Niners defensive coordinator position has been kind of one that just turned in Coach D'Amico, Robert Saleh. I mean, it's, and even offensively, Mike McDaniel, but we kind of tend to see this. I think teams, idle hands, you know what I mean? They don't like to wait this long unless there's like a super, super, super obvious name. So that's why it makes sense that maybe Aaron Glenn could be another Aggie, obviously, could be the guy if it's not Dan Campbell. Maybe Steve Wilkes. I'm sorry, could be the one. The Niners defensive coordinator in the moment could be, who they're holding out for. At this point, if you're Washington, you might as well wait. I mean, you're last. Like what's it going to cost waiting? 11 more days or whatever it is.
Well, there is a ripple effect, and whoever they do choose, whether it's a promotion or a lateral move, whatever that might be considered to get to the Commanders, there will be a spot. For the reason I ask is, of course, I'm focused specifically on a defensive coordinator, that as I've gone through the day and looked at numbers and seen what's going on, I think that he is really the only option that Commanders have for a name that people will recognize. I mean, I do think we're down to that. And if that's what they're chasing, then Dan Quinn will get the job. But I also think because we're down to that it will turn in from if Quinn gets the gig, I hope he realizes that this is kind of a David Culley kind of a thing. that I don't think you're going to be here very long. I think that there's going to be a transition. There's going to be a new stadium, a new team, an imminent first-round draft pick, and a new coach to go along with.
You might want to rent if you're Dan Quinn in the area, because it doesn't, and I do think Washington is still turning around. And that's, if I have to give Ron Rivera credit, if I should give Ron Rivera credit for anything, look, what he walked into was a mess isn't even the right word. And he brought somewhat legitimacy just because he was a part of it. And I do think Dan Quinn is a strong culture builder. I don't believe in his defensive prowess anymore. But, I mean, what they have needed for a long time is an adult in the room. And Ron Rivera, at the very least, was that. And maybe you do just need a refresh. And even, because Dan Quinn would feel very Ron Rivera-esque, but he does help you kind of become more professional, more competent, because those kinds of things simply do not happen overnight. And they were down very, very, very bad in that capacity for a very long time.
Looking at the other coaching changes around the league, an interesting one going down in Green Bay. They hired a former college coach, the guy that was from Boston College, BC. Is now the defensive coordinator for the Packers. That's why, I'm all for this. This isn't my favorite kind of hire. It's not a retread. It's not a guy from another team. This is a dude that was
a college baller,
was developing talent, going to a defense that needs a little bit of development.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of an unknown. Sometimes you get a really well-known college hire, right? The
Harbaugh,
David Shaw or Harbaugh. Harbaugh's like the one, but like I would say maybe like Bill O'Brien. Like everybody knew he had done a great job, and he's a more well-known name again at the time. But I like it. I mean, the Packers are in an interesting spot. The Packers earned a lot of trust back from people over the course of the season and certainly into the playoffs. I think people were kind of out on them in the post-Aaron Rodgers era. I wouldn't be shocked to see people, picking them to upset the Lions in the NFC North and be all the way back just because Jordan Love looked that good. And so, he helps this defensive idea. But I'm with you. What were you going to do? Go get, like Wink Martindale still out there. That's an interesting, thing. But I mean,
there's like 3 retread, like Fazio. That dude will fill somebody's job as soon as it's open. He will, have scheme, will travel. And there's 4 or 5 of those guys, I think, that are around the NFL that if there's a job open, we'll bring him in. He's a good stopgap. He blitzes like crazy. Fans will like him for a year, and then they're going to get mad at him. Hey, coming back, we have a whole lot more to do and not a lot of time to do it. So in the 9 o'clock hour, this is what we're doing. We're talking a little bit more about Dan Quinn, where he's going. KJ Wright's going to talk about what's going on in Seattle and focus on the defenses that are going to go at each other coming up on Super Bowl 58. And those grievances, they don't come easy, and it's hard to let them go. So let's talk about that at 9:30. Hang on tight. There's a whole lot to do. He's RJ. I'm Rob. We're at work. You're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I hope you're spending your day preparing for your evening or afternoon. I hope you've already planned on what you're going to do for lunch and heading over to Twin Peaks and having one of their great lunch specials, hard, healthy, warm, inviting environments. Or I hope you've already planned your office a happy hour because Twin Peaks will have them waiting for you when you arrive. I hope you've planned on watching the Pro Bowl at Twin Peaks, knowing full well that every TV you look at will be appropriate for you because every seat in Twin Peaks is a man cave. Listen to me straight. There are 4 locations. You know what they've got. You might as well go and enjoy it. The playoffs have been spectacular. The big game's going to be even better, but there's so much more going on. As we get face first into baseball, you got every game, the gentleman's special during the day, and everything you're chasing. That's why you go to Twin Peaks. The eats are spectacular. The specials are wonderful. The drinks are icy cold. Check the thermometer above the bar. All that combines are reasons, but I'll tell you mine. It's those scenic views.
The Sports Star boys are headed to Vegas for the big game.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
This Monday, Robin, RJ, and Jason and Joe are heading to Sin City and Radio Row for the big game with security provided by AA Best Bail Bonds.
Let's go to Vegas. We'll all get drunk and
Woo!
I think you gonna get away with it. Not up in here. Not up in here.
Powered by AA Best Bail Bonds, Synergen X, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hey, it's Rob Thompson here for SA Card House. Over there on San Pedro, you know where it is, 13400 San Pedro right there in Bitters. One of my favorite places to go for a lot of reasons. It's not just about the restaurant and the bar, which is a reason to be. It's not just about the atmosphere and the great games and all the prizes that go along with being a San Antonio Card House member. It's a vibe. It's a thing that you get. Whether you're a brand new player, they have brand new classes for you to get you interested in playing, to teach you how to play the game. They got great membership rates. They've got food to serve at great atmosphere while you're playing, or if you just bring your friends and family to play. But it's an atmosphere of success and fun, and that's why I go to SA Card House, and that's why you need to give them a try. Go check out their website, sacardhouse.com, but you're not going to know until you go. It's a private social club waiting for you to come and play. It's at Bitters in San Pedro. It is my SA Card House. Head there today. Thank me later.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
Meet Cheryl. Hey, she's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
We're in the studio right now with Jose Rios from the Gomez Law Firm. Jose, tell us a little about Gomez Law.
Number one priority is to let the people know that we are a law firm that's been part of this community for almost 50 years. You know, Mr. Gomez, he's been a practicing attorney here since 1973. He's born and raised here in San Antonio, done nothing but help out personal injury victims for almost half a century. It's very important that we get that out to the San Antonio community, because a lot of these attorneys like to come in here and act like they're from here, but you know, they're all out-of-towners. They don't know what goes on here. They really don't know.
If you have been injured in an accident, injured at work, or hit by a company vehicle, don't take on the big insurance companies by yourself. Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736-4040.
We've been around for almost 50 years, and we're not going anywhere. And remember, Gomez Law fights.
If you have been injured in an accident, injured at work, or hit by a company vehicle, the first place you need to go is joegomezlaw.com.
This is Jim Rome. Have a take, don't suck on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, KTFM Floresville.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
In the NFL, the Seattle Seahawks got their guy. They are hiring Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald for their head coaching vacancy. That leaves Washington. The Commanders are the only one left looking for a head coach. Dan Quinn finished his second interview earlier in the week. He eagerly awaits. The Spurs went down to the Magic. They lost by 10. Wemby had 21. Vassell had 26.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 100% satisfaction guarantee.
This is R&R in the morning.
Man in motion, handoff, Pollard coming right. Bang, zoom, touchdown Cowboys.
Yama about 3 feet behind the line. Got it.
It's R&R in the morning with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. He's RJ Ochoa. I'm Rob Thompson. Gathered together, huddling up, looking forward to a full sporting day. Lots to get into this hour. KJ Wright, he's Super Bowl champ. He All-Pro. He with us in just 15 minutes. He's almost here. You excited, Archie?
Are you sure?
Well, I've been told that he's around the corner.
Well, if he's not, then everything we've kind of teased today
I
really
know.
fall apart.
Up in
That would be
smoke,
embarrassing.
but that would be the first time. You adjust, you adapt, and you overcome.
Rob, what did you eat for dinner last night?
Interesting question. Absolutely nothing.
Thank you. That's impossible.
No, yesterday was not a good day. Yesterday was one of those I know I'm good kind of days.
Okay.
Hey, you want something to eat? No, I'm good. I'm wrestling with my own internal demons, if you know what I mean.
All right. Well, kind of a boring answer.
Well, I'm just saying, normally
do?
I would have eaten far better. I know it was on the plans. I was planning on making chili dogs.
Oh, that would have not gone well then.
Oh no, it would have been a bad idea. But that is one of my favorite. If you ask me, like, what would you like to whip up real quick? Go to Tri-County Meat Market and get some of their house-made dogs. And man, after that, it doesn't matter what you use. I just use wolf chili. I mean, I'm embarrassed to say it, but boy, that's a chili dog. That's a chili dog kind of a day. I think I'm going to do that today as we head into it. What did you have?
After we picked my son up from school, our whole family went to Freddy's and
Smash Burgers.
The burger place,
Yeah.
Freddy's, but yeah. So I actually didn't get a burger. I got the chicken tenders. I was in the mood for that. He ate like 400 fries, and then we had some ice cream and stuff. So it was a good time.
Yeah. How often does the Ochoa family hit the family eating out? Is that a common thing?
Not really. I would say maybe once a week, maybe twice if there's a special occasion involved. But it's when you get a 2-year-old, you're really just kind of riding that wave sometimes.
So how many kids' toys do you have rolling around in the back of your car?
Now at the moment, there's probably we got enough cars to put together our own F1 grid.
What's been not getting the kids' meals anymore? What's the most recent things that you get? Is there anything worthwhile?
So none of these are ads, but Chick-fil-A does have like a coloring book
Oh,
thing.
dude, it
Right,
matters. No, I know you're not offering
they don't do
ads.
toys. They do. It's a little pack of stuff, But yeah, I do miss the days of toys, if I'm being honest, and I miss when you would collect toys. That there was a drive behind that. I remember when I was a kid. Do you remember the Inspector Gadget movie with Matthew Broderick?
Absolutely, I do.
So McDonald's at the time had a promotion. McDonald's had some cool stuff.
They did back in the day.
But, they had you would get a piece of Inspector Gadget. So you would have to collect all 6 or whatever it was to build the full out, Inspector. That was really cool. But they used to have those like Batman Forever, glasses and stuff. They used to have all sorts of stuff.
So that's not a thing anymore.
I don't think so.
Wow, that's too bad.
My last thing on this, have you seen this? This is right up your alley. I think you have the McMillions documentary.
Oh, absolutely.
I was going to say that's a Rob thing. If there's ever been a Rob thing, that's
absolute brilliance.
McDonald's
flying
stuff.
around the country, scraping things. I remember when that first broke, and the story really how it came out initially was there had been this random winning ticket sent into St. Jude's Hospital, one of those Monopoly tickets. It was like $1 million donation. That it was like unsolicited.
They sent in the ticket, and they were like, "Here you go, cash it in."
Somebody sent in the little scratch tab. Well, backtracking from there, it turned out it was all a part of this big take advantage of McDonald's.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Go watch that on the Netflix if you get a moment. You were not going to have much time here in the next week and a half as we get closer and closer to the biggest television event of the year in the United States as the Super Bowl is imminent. We're going to have KJ right here in just a minute to talk about what leads up to the game because he's been and done that. And also gets to talk about his new head coach. But before we have to head out and talk to KJ, I do want to get into what we watched last night with the Spurs. Because the reason that's just it. I woke up this morning. I went to bed last night in a pretty good mood. They lost. Yes, they choked it away. They did have an opportunity to win, but it was a team that at least showed me some fight against an Orlando Magic team that was far better than I expected.
I don't think you can say that they put up a fight. I think that's not a genuine reflection of what happened. They let a 17-0 run happen in the third quarter, and they put lipstick on the pig. That's what you're qualifying as put up a fight. It was not a fight. They were out of this game. And Orlando took their foot off the gas, and bad on them, and almost kind of blew it in the process. But the Spurs don't get credit for rallying back down that many. I mean, not in my book.
Why not? What would – I mean, obviously –
you got boat race. It was over. Orlando chilled. They put the game on ice. I mean, so, like, you know, you don't get props for beating the JV team or almost beating the JV team. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you're lowering the bar, man. Come on.
They did it last night.
And to do this right on the heels of blowing a game to a really bad Wizards team. I mean, the last 5 quarters we've seen from this team have been pretty gross basketball.
Now, when you put it into that light,
in reality,
yes, there is some anger there. But
when you say the truth,
it was 59-57, and then I don't know, we fell asleep. I don't know exactly what occurred, but the Spurs for the next 20 minutes just kind of disappeared through the end of the second, into the third. Through the third, it was an utter collapse, the likes of which I wasn't upset. I was upset, but at that point, I'm now not paying attention to the score. I'm watching backdoor cuts. I'm doing what I do to make my way through a bad basketball game. But as I'm watching that, I see Chetty Osman playing really hard. And I see Blake Wesley is a difference maker every time he hits the court. And I'm taking notes as to what I'm seeing. And before I know it, it's a 5-0 run. It's a 7-0 run. It's an 8-0 run. And they're making plays. They're
hollow and meaningless.
Well, yes, in the grandest scheme of things, there was an L, and that's at the end of the day all that matters. But what I did see for a brief shining moment was enough to get me to the next game. It's kind of like you have one good swing a day on a golf course. Hopefully it comes on the 17th or the 18th, so you have that fond memory of the next time you go play. Well, last night was enough for me to go, you know what, against the Pelicans, if they do what they did midway through the fourth, if they offer that kind of pressure, if they swing the ball and do what's appropriate, they could offer them something that I didn't think they could do even hours ago. And for me right now, I'm grasping. I'm hoping for anything. And I wish to everything that last night, as they got to within 3 with like 3:50 to go in the game and they went to break, God, I wish I would have turned the TV off.
So what you're saying is not realistic in any way, shape, or form. Like what you're saying, to live in your analogy, is, man, if I just hit every shot like that, the best shot of my life, I'd be really good at this game. You know what I mean? It's just so. I don't want to be pessimistic, but again, we're now in 5 quarters of this with 5 minutes of good. I guess to your kind of point, right. It feels like you're a food aficionado. I don't know. There's got to be a name for the silver plate and thing you lift the cover off.
Oh, I don't know. I bet there is.
It's gotta be like an official name for that.
French.
Yeah. But like the container de voyageur. Yeah. You lift the container de voyageur and it's like ramen. That's what last night was. And you're like, but dude, the container was really cool. The container de voyageur. I mean, like, no, man, it was still bad. It was awful in some respects.
Yeah, I get it. I'm reveling in the journey.
Wemby didn't even have the most shots on the team. Like it was a failure in the only thing last night accomplished was keeping our super valuable assist streak alive. That's all. At last night, everybody breathed for 48 minutes and they got 20 assists. That's it. That's all we accomplished.
Are you amazed at how bad we are at the simple alley-oop? Seems like the entire man, we got alley-oop last night. How many dunks did we give up last night? Backdoor cut dunks, rim running, high pick and low rows that we just couldn't stop no matter who was in there. And they managed to pull it off with much less tall or athletic guys. Well, no, they're equally athletic. We can't. Our alley-oop game, our passing game above the rim is as bad as any team I've seen that offers any kind of scholarship. Anything above high school level, it's as bad as I've ever seen. I don't understand why we can't manage this.
Alexandra Valverde says in the chat, when it comes to the Spurs this season, just don't set any expectations. So if they win, you're pleasantly surprised. If they lose, well. And it sounds like that's the phenomenon you experience. It sounds like, Rob, you were
I'm there.
It sounds like you were the sleeping puppy on the couch, and for those 5 minutes, the Spurs got up and grabbed a toy, and you were like, "You got a toy?
Yeah,
we're gonna play? Right now?" And then you threw it 6 times, and the puppy was like, "That's it." And you're like, "Well, I mean,
I'm bored.
I'm kind of done, at this point." And the puppy was just like, "Okay, I'll go back to sleep."
but that's the point where we are. That's how you fall into this. That's why at the beginning of the process, I warned everybody what's going to happen is you just get beaten down. You just get worn out to the fact, well, W's and L's no longer matter, where you don't even look at where you are. All you're looking at is what is 3 inches in front of your nose. That's all you can pay attention to. And as long as that's moderately okay, you can muddle through think of it. The Spurs are nearly 3/4 of the way through the season. They're about to head off on their rodeo road trip, and they have but 10 wins. They have.
It seems like
if you put that into the perspective that you should as a fan, you couldn't exist. You're like, this is worse than anything I ever imagined. And then make it even worse than that. And almost to where we might be, because this time last year, at least the chase was worthy. Wemby was coming. And now we got him, and it's even worse. It is as bad a scenario as any team has had to deal with in the NBA, short of their star breaking his leg.
I feel like this was somewhat of a cathartic conversation for myself and others. I feel like, speaking on behalf of the people who share the sentiments that I do, I feel like Simba waking up, and you're Timon and Pumbaa. You're like, man, look, we have no worries here, all right? We eat bugs, and if you pretend they're good, they're actually really good. And, we have a motto. It basically means like we've just accepted and come to terms with our conditions in life. We're going to sing about it in a second. And, maybe along the way, we'll all experience some sort of like self-metamorphosis and become better people as a result of it all. But you're Timon and Pumbaa to us, Rob. Hakuna Matata. That's how you feel about the Spurs, I guess.
Remember, as Costanza said, it's not a lie if you believe it. Hey, coming up, KJ Wright is going to join us. He's won him a Super Bowl. He's played a role. He knows what's going on in Seattle. If you haven't heard his podcast, you should. He'll be with us next. Hold on tight. It's right around the corner. He's RJ. I'm Rob, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star. How you feeling this morning? I hope you did not wake up in pain. Something that's keeping you out of life. If you did, stop. There's an answer out there. So many of us get used to not taking advantage of our insurance, not using it because, man, I just don't want to write the check. I'll just live with what I'm going. Well, guess what? Arasti accept most insurances, and you can call them whenever you'd like because you don't need a referral. So call them and get yourself out of pain. You're going to get a full evaluation. You're going to have a medical expert that is highly trained in the specific needs that you have to get you out of pain. And when they do, you are going to be amazed at how quickly they can get it done. On average, under 4 visits. I am living proof. I've had lower back issues most of my adult life. I walked it. Well, let me take that back. I shuttled in to an Arasti provider thing. And here we go. Another attempt to get me out of what I know is going to be an 8-week process. Well, guess what? After the first visit, I felt a little bit better. After the second visit, I felt a lot better. And after the third visit, I was just about done. If you need to get out of pain, what are you waiting for? Call Arasti today. The numbers you need is 1-800-404-6050. The website is Arasti.com. If you're looking for a new provider, go there. There's a map of all the new ones. I bet there's one less than 10 minutes from where you are now. Listen close. Don't let pain keep you from doing things that you love. There's an answer. It's Arasti. Call them today. They're going to get you fixed. And when they do, I want you to thank me later.
The NFL playoffs are here.
Read all about it, baby. One last drive.
Wild card, divisional, conference championship, and Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. Hear it on your exclusive home for the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Working from home, you realize you don't have enough outlets or USB ports. Hill Electric can fix that for you. For over 3 decades, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio homes and businesses. From adding an outlet, fixing that fuse that always blows, or that flickering light, Hill Electric has the right service at the right price, and there is never a service charge and always free estimates. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074. Or go to hill-electric.com.
Eczema flaring up again? We have good news.
Exoderm. If you or someone you love suffers from eczema or dermatitis, get Exoderm, the common sense answer for eczema. This stuff really does work. Exoderm contains the #1 doctor-recommended ingredient in a clean hypoallergenic cream with no harsh additives. Take back control of your eczema with affordable, fast-acting Exoderm Flare Control Cream. Exoderm. It's in the first aid aisle of your local Walmart, H-E-B, and other fine stores.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass. Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now, you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just text RENEWAL to 200-300 for your free consultation on top-quality affordable windows or patio doors for no dollars down, no payments, and no interest for a year. That's right. You don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus, save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Text RENEWAL to 200-300 right now. Text the word RENEWAL to 200-300. Don't wait. Text RENEWAL to 200-300.
Score big with LS Tractors at Dietz Tractor in Seguin, the MVPs of the field. LS Tractors, the star quarterbacks of farming, perfect for tough tasks for farm, ranch, and landscaping. Dietz Tractors has your all-star coaching staff for top-notch equipment. They're not just selling tractors, they're building lasting relationships with unmatched dealer support for parts and maintenance. It's a winning strategy that goes beyond the final whistle. Don't miss the game-winning move. 0% financing available with approved credit on LS Tractors. Start blue, stay blue at Dietz Tractor in Seguin.
This is Andrew Monaco and the Aggies Play 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
He's RJ. I'm Rob. We're glad you're with us here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. We are your home for all the big game coverage, and when we talk about it, AA Best Bail Bonds brings it to you. Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds powers it along with Synergenics. We'd like to talk some Super Bowl with a guy that's a good friend of our show. His name is KJ Wright. You know him as a Super Bowl champion and podcaster KJ all day and a good friend of the show. Welcome aboard, KJ. How's your morning?
Thank you guys for having me. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. All right, what's going on up there in Seattle? You guys celebrating, got a brand new head coach. Let's talk about that first.
Ooh, the whole city is excited. We signed Mike McDonald yesterday after a long, beautiful 14 years with Coach Carroll. Wonderful time, wonderful job that he did. But it's time for a new era. And this guy, man, I'm telling you, I'm excited about him. It seems like every time I watch this Baltimore Ravens defense, they had about 13 or 14 guys out there. Roquan Smith, All-Pro, Kyle Hamilton, All-Pro. And just the way that he's led these guys, the creativity that he has on defense, it's something that's much needed here in Seattle because the defense has been a disaster these last 2 to 3 years. So we have someone with a new culture, a new style, a new energy here in the city. Everyone is thoroughly excited to have him.
KJ, it seems like some teams just need to be certain ways. I think the Ravens are an example of that, right? Like we think about them historically, and they're just all their success is always on the defensive side of the ball. No disrespect to anything Seattle's accomplished offensively, but I think you would attest some of the better times on the defensive side of the ball. So this kind of feels like past meeting present. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Oh, absolutely. And when you talk to John Snyder after his press conference, he said he wants to keep this culture extremely similar to what we had with Coach Carroll. He wants to keep the philosophy the same, a defensive-minded football team. You're going to play tough defense, and you're going to control the trenches in the running game. And so that's exactly what we need here. That's exactly what our makeup is. You look at the Ravens. Same thing with Ray Lewis, T-Sizzle, how we had with Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas. Keep that same type of style here in Seattle. Because the talent is no question. We have Devin Witherspoon, Jordan Brooks, Reek Woolen. Like, there's talent all on this defensive side of the football. We just need someone to just bring out the best in these guys, have a solid game plan. Because facing a Kyle Shanahan, facing a Sean McVay twice a year, who just swept us in 2023, it's not easy to face those guys. So I'm excited to see what McDonald brings to the table. The biggest question is, what is his staff going to look like? Right. Who's his offensive coordinator going to be? And so for a young guy that doesn't have much connections with guys across the league, I'm interested to see what that looks like.
He is KJ Wright. KJ All Days, his podcast. Find it at YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you catch your podcasts. Also on the Cairo there at 710 ESPN. Why not Dan Quinn?
Look, I talked to John Snyder. I was like, hey, what you think about DQ? He's like, Dan Quinn, he would be a safe guy. And but looking at DQ, looking at this fan base, they want to just remove from the Coach Carroll tree. They don't want the competition Wednesday, no repeat Thursday. They want to just get all the way away from what we've been accustomed to the past 15 years. And I get it. I totally get it.
Do you really?
I do get it. I really do. It's a long 15 years is a long time, guys. And I'm telling
you guys, that's Seattle though. That's you. That's the Legion of Boom. It's the Carroll thing, like you said, the no repeat Tuesdays, all that kind of stuff. Do you really want to leave that behind?
Folks said they wanted to detox. The words they are using, they want to detox. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Detox from what he had here. And it was a good era. It was a really good run. The people love Coach Carroll, forever a legend. But they wanted something completely new. We did a poll, because I'm with my radio station. We did a poll, and it was extremely, extremely low on Dan Quinn coming to lead this franchise. Mm-hmm. It obviously didn't help the last game versus the Packers. The 48 points just left a sour taste in everyone's mouth. Oh, man, I don't know about this guy. Let's go in another direction. So that they didn't want him. The fan base did not want Dan Quinn.
Yeah, I think Cowboys fans kind of agree with you. I think everybody loves Dan Quinn, and certainly more so in your neck of the woods, but the Cowboys fans are kind of ready to move on. I did want to ask you about your Super Bowl win, KJ, because at the time, it was not a game. I mean, and there were a lot of people that were like, this is so boring. And I remember just like some people like, dude, they all used to be like this. Like they didn't used to be this like close back and forth sort of thing. But I once asked Joe Buck, because they had the call at the time on Fox. It was not a close game. And then Percy comes out, to start the second half and just like makes it not a game. And Joe Buck was like, yeah, that kind of sucked because, there was no hope whatsoever. When did you start to celebrate individually? Like maybe not out loud, but like because it was really obvious for a very long time that y'all were going to win that game.
So we went into the locker room, and people don't remember this, but Percy Harvin only played like 2 games of football season. And we knew like, oh my God, we got our secret weapon. They don't know anything about him. We're about to return the kick in this third quarter. I kid you not. We all said we're about to get this kickoff return, and Percy is going to score a touchdown. That was the talk throughout the locker room. Like, we are going to score a touchdown. And lo and behold, they kicked that little squib kickoff to him. Number 11 got it. And when I say he's the fastest human being I've ever seen, Percy Harvin is the fastest man I've ever seen in my life. And once he scored that touchdown, he zigzagged through those defenders. I said, game over. I said, this game is a wrap, game over. Let's start to celebrate a little bit. But we knew that we defeated those guys once Percy Harvin did that. And you could see on the Broncos sideline, you could feel like when you tackle those guys, oh, yeah, they're just trying to get up out of here.
That makes sense. KJ, I mentioned, Cowboys fans, et cetera, et cetera. We obviously talk a lot of Cowboys here in San Antonio. And I don't believe your time at Mississippi State crossed over with Dak Prescott. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, but obviously you know a lot of people, lots of common denominators. You've watched him, you do radio and your podcast and everything. What is it like, when somebody's at the center of the world like this? Because that's how Dak is. And more than half, it seems like people want him gone, this and that, whatever. I mean, as somebody who's climbed the highest highs that the NFL has to offer and now sees things from your vantage point and who knows Dak the way you do, and again, common denominators, what's your take on Dak Prescott here in 2024?
First of all, I love Dak. Dak is obviously went to Mississippi State. I came across him when we played several times. I've seen him down there in Starkville. And I look at Dak Prescott, and he is playing in, how do you describe the Cowboys organization? Just the most bold, the most brilliant organization in the NFL. And that organization is always continuously under a magnifying glass. If he even jaywalks across the street, somebody is noticing it, and it's going to be live on Twitter. And so with him, is Dak Prescott a phenomenal quarterback? Yes. Does he do a lot of good things for that franchise? 100%. But whenever you play for the Dallas Cowboys, if it's not an NFC championship, if it's not a Super Bowl, there's going to be noise around your name. There's going to be tense, there's going to be tense conversations had around you as the quarterback. And so that comes with the territory. When you pay those big contracts, when you're playing for the Dallas Cowboys, a lot of noise is going to be surrounded around your name. And so he's done a good job. He's done a really good job. But obviously it's not good enough because this franchise, this organization is about championships. And so does he have the ability to obtain that? 100%. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks. I've played a lot of quarterbacks. Dak Prescott is up there with the type of quarterbacks that could take you to the promised land. It's just a matter of them putting it together in the playoffs to just make that playoff wild card, division, NFC championship, and get into the Super Bowl.
So if you were on a team coming into a season and Dak was your quarterback, you would have the same amount of comfort that you could get and win a Super Bowl as any of the contending quarterbacks. There's not a doubt in your mind.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I came. What game did I came to the Cowboys Seahawks game, and I watched Dak Prescott live and in person. I'm like, this guy is phenomenal. I played Dak Prescott. My last year was in 2020. He put up about 450 yards, 7 touchdowns. Okay, Dak. And so he's a special talent, special talent. But the thing that the Cowboys need to be looking at is their run game. Tony Pollard is a guy that has so much talent. But, I'm not looking at him. He didn't give the Cowboys enough this past season. They made to look at that. And but the receiver position, CeeDee Lamb, Gallup, it's time to really talk about Michael Gallup and if he's going forward with this team. So give him a real number 2 and some help in the running back position. Now we're talking. Now we have a complete offense. Will really make some more noise like we did this past season.
He is KJ Wright. Legion of Boom started everything, but he's busy now. You can catch his podcast, KJ, all day. He's on Cairo as well up there in Seattle. Busy man. I want you to compare and contrast the two DCs, the defensive coordinators, and tell me what you would do with them and what they're going to have to deal with. Spags is going to have to stop McCaffrey. How would you do that, or how do you expect Spags to do that? Wilkes is going to have to stop Kelsey. How would you do that?
If I'm both of these guys, I'm praying to whatever God I pray to because this is not easy. I watched film last night actually on Christian McCaffrey. First and foremost, he should be the MVP of this league. He was the best player in the NFL this season. His ability to make you miss, his ability to shake you, run you over, run past you was better than any player this football season. The way he controlled the run game, if you're Spagnuolo, you got to load this box. You have to have what I call run blitzes. Blitz to the tight end side, blitz to the flex side. It's a real chess match when you're facing a Kyle Shanahan. And if you just line up and what they watch on film, they're just going to tear you apart because they're a brilliant offensive mind. And if you are Steve Wilkes stopping Travis Kelsey, please make someone else beat you on this offense. I'm sick and tired of watching the same guy each and every year destroy football teams. Do not leave anyone man-to-man on Travis Kelsey without any help. You have got to double-team Travis Kelsey if you decide to go man-to-man because his ability to run past guys, their chemistry between him and Patrick Mahomes is like no other we've ever seen between the quarterback and tight end position. And so if you go man-to-man, double-team Travis Kelsey and make everyone else earn their paychecks. And so it's not an easy feat to do because both of these guys are generational type of talent, first ballot Hall of Famers. And it's going to be really fun to watch the chess match that they have on the defensive side.
KJ, just kind of curious because now you know who the head coach is for the Seahawks. And I'll be straight up with you and not pandering. I did pick Seattle to win the NFC West this year, but, not exactly a take that aged well. The Rams, kind of surprised people. I think the Cardinals certainly near the end of the season. Where do you think Seattle finishes in the NFC West in 2024 in the first year under Mike McDonald?
I got a second. I have a second. The Niners, we're not there yet. Those guys are stacked, it feels like. And I look at the Rams, they did surprise me as well. Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua. I'm like, who is this Puka Nacua guy? And why is he scoring so many touchdowns? But I do have us above those guys just simply based off of talent. We have so much talent with the way that John Snyder has drafted these past 2 years. Defensive Rookie of the Year should be Devin Witherspoon this year. And but I got us finishing second in the NFC West. But it won't be easy. It's just a matter of us seeing what this staff looks like on offense. I'm voting T. Martin. I don't know if you guys remember T. Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The quarterback from Tennessee Balls.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterbacks coach for Lamar Jackson. So I'm really banking on him coming in here and being an offensive coordinator. So if you have both of those minds calling plays, I think we'll be cooking with grease then.
He is KJ Wright, always hot as fish grease. One more question. When you think back at Super Bowls, and obviously there's all the moments on the field, when I ask you, what do you remember about the Super Bowl with something off the field? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
First thing that comes to my mind is when I was searching for my family after the game. And the first person I saw was my girlfriend, now wife. But the favorite hug that I gave was to my dad.
Awesome.
And that's when we both started crying. And I said to him, there's no way I'm here without you. Just people just see athletes, but they don't see the families that invested so much into them. And for me, my dad was my guy, just throwing the ball with you in the backyard. Whenever you look in the stands and in high school and in college, you can find your dad in the stands. That was a really cool moment for us to have together. So hands down, my favorite memory.
You just encompassed why we do what we do. He is KJ Wright. KJ all day. You'll catch him on Cairo. You'll catch him on his podcast. Just be glad and go get it and catch him. KJ, thanks for stopping by, man. I hope to see you in Vegas. You're going to be running around the row?
I'll be there.
All
yes,
right,
sir.
man. Look, travel safe, man.
And we'll talk about Jerry Jones when I see you, because I have a lot to say.
Okay, we'll carve out some time.
Yes, we will. He is KJ Wright, Super Bowl champion and a broadcaster extraordinaire. You catch it right here on San Antonio Sports Star. If you missed any of that, go back to our audio vault. That was worthy conversation. Hey, we have grievances to air, so stay right here. We're coming back angry and we're leaving happy. He's RJ. I'm Rob, and you're on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I hope you woke up this morning and washed yourself clean underneath a Connecticut water softened shower. If you did, carry on with your day. You're already well on your way to success. If you didn't, listen close to me. There's a lot of water softener companies out there, some bigger, some better, some worse, some not. They all have their individual attributes. They all have something good about them. I'm not going to disparage them, but I'll tell you this. Nothing like Connecticut. Connecticut has everything that you're looking for in a water softener here in San Antonio. It doesn't plug in. It doesn't have a motherboard, so you're not worried about it breaking all the time. It only works when you work, meaning whenever you turn on the faucet, that's when it works, so it doesn't cycle through all the time. You've heard that, right? And eat all that salt up. You get warranties that go along with your Connecticut that apples to apples, orange to oranges cannot be matched. And then let's talk about just what they do for you on a regular basis. It keeps your hair without that stuff on it. You don't feel it on your skin. You're not going to see that dusty stuff on your dishes coming out of the dishwasher anymore. And most importantly, all that stuff that ended up on your dishes ain't in your pipes. That's why you call Connecticut. And I'll give you one more reason. How about one in your home for 90 days at absolutely no cost to you or commitment? You can find out what so many San Antonians know, that Connecticut is the water softener to have. So get one. Call 656-PURE right now. They'll come out and put one in your home, and you can talk to them in 91 days and go ahead and make the decision that so many of us have had. We're Connecticut customers for life. They say it, I believe it. It's the last water softener you're ever going to own. Call 656-PURE today, and I know you're going to be thanking me later.
The Sports Star boys are headed to Vegas for the big game.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
This Monday, Rob and RJ and Jason and Joe are heading to Sin City and Radio Row for the big game, with security provided by AA Best Bail Bonds.
Let's go to Vegas. We'll all get drunk and Woo!
Think you gonna get away with it? Not up in here.
Not up in here.
Powered by AA Best Bail Bonds, Synergenics, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, and 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
I still get PMS. You know what I mean? So
why
I
don't
don't
you get
know.
a hysterectomy? In California,
Actually, I've
they
had
pay
a
for
partial
everything.
hysterectomy, smart ass.
Why didn't you get a full?
I don't know. I don't know why they didn't just gut me.
When they gut you, like a fish, do you age out quicker? Does that estrogen keep you a little younger?
Do you flop around on the dock? The John Clay Wolf Show, every Saturday morning.
Catch the John Clay Wolf Show, Saturdays from 9 a.m. to noon, right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
When was the last time you went to the dentist? Need a new dentist? Hi, Jason Minix here. Go see my dentist at Smile Structure Dentistry and Braces. Smile Structure can handle all your dentistry needs, from general dentistry to oral surgery, orthodontics for the kids, or Invisalign for adults. Mention this ad, get a free exam and x-rays. Veteran owned with 5 San Antonio area locations. Learn more and book an appointment online at smilestructure.com. That's smilestructure.com.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, there's something that binds us all. The collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the new Callaway AI Smoke Driver. The new AI Design Club has multiple sweet spots across the face, making it an average of 7 yards longer than the prior model. Visit us in-store for a free custom fitting at your local Edwin Watts Golf Shops, or shop us online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
At Progressive, we love sports and saving you money, so we bundled them together.
It's 40 love here in the third set. And there's the bell. She's coming off the bench hot, looking for a quick knockdown. But wait, she's driving to the hoop. Oh, down goes the champ. Now that's another double fault. She'll be shooting too. The serve is up. And here comes the left hook. She's bundled her home and auto insurance with Progressive. Swish, ace, savings, TKO.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com.
The La Tap Texas cycling races are back in San Antonio, April 12th to the 14th. Cyclists of all ages, register now to ride in the 100, 60, or 25-mile Tour de France amateur cycling events. You can run, walk, cycle, and celebrate all things Fitness Fiesta at the Athletes Village and Expo. La Tap Texas. Register today at fiestafitfest.com. Presented in part by Thomas J. Henry.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com.
Take steps to live a more sustainable lifestyle by investing in plastic-free food storage containers like silicone sandwich bags or beeswax wraps, which can replace the difficult-to-recycle single-use plastic wrap. And while we all do our part, Charmin is working hard to make a difference by regrowing 2 trees for every tree used. We all go, why not enjoy the go with Charmin? Whether it's the irresistible cushiony softness of Charmin Ultra Soft or the superior strength and absorbency of Charmin Ultra Strong, either way, you can't go wrong.
Super Bowl 58 in Vegas is set. It's the Chiefs and Niners. Hear it right here on your exclusive home for the Super Bowl. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Hey, welcome back. It's been a fun show. If you missed any of it, you know where to go. SASportsStar.com. That's the audio vault brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. Catch up on Damontre Moore. He's in our bail bonds vault. KJ Wright, he's in our vault. RJ Ochoa, he's in our vault drinking blue stuff that matches his shirt. I'm in the vault. Go to the vault, SASportsStar.com. It's our podcast headquarters. While you're there, get yourself signed up for our golf tournament and all the likes and appropriate things. The like tax must be paid and paid often. You feeling good about yourself today? Anything troubling you? Anything you need to get off the top of your mind? Do we have an interesting sounder for this yet? Do you want to play this? Do we have it? No, is it still cooking? We're turning this into a regular thing. Cooking. So we're putting together a sound. So far, so good. It sounds good. I appreciate it. It makes me angry just listening to it.
It's in the oven right now, and it's like a cake, and you're putting the toothpick in. You're like, oh, it's still mush. You know what I mean? You got to wait.
And this is a hard day to be upset about stuff to me.
Oh, I got a lot, so I don't think so at
Really?
all. I'm upset at you.
In your sunny
upset about
disposition,
anything.
you've got grievances to air.
This is supposed to be. This is literally an airing of grievances that we're supposed to do all the time, and you kind of fail at it all the time. So you're kind of
I'm a
flirting with
happy
the
guy.
list.
All right, so start it off. Why are you, in fact, angry? And let's get it out.
Well, I went after Disney the other day, and really just kind of theme parks in general, and was just kind of mad that theme parks exist and that they're overwhelming. But I thought of this actually as you started this segment off. The vault that Disney has done in the past is the dumbest thing to ever exist.
What do you mean?
It is
the vault.
So maybe you're unaware, and I don't think this exists anymore in the Disney Plus era. But once upon a time, movies would go into the vault, and they were not able to be bought. And I'm talking like the classics, like
it was
The
a
Little
ploy.
Mermaid.
To go buy the VHS tape. It was a ploy.
or the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever. So I mean, Disney would be like, "It's out of the vault. You better buy it now. It's $40 for this movie, and you gotta buy it now, and you better get it because it's gonna go back in the vault, and we're gonna take 101 Dalmatians out." So that was really stupid. I didn't like that. But again, I don't think that that's a real thing. But I just wanted to get it off my chest.
No, it's
I have
gone
another
now.
one. I have another one that I think is somewhat controversial. Okay. It's not really a grievance as much as it kind of annoys me when everybody says this. So I'm like, I don't feel grieved, or aggrieved, I guess, but I'm just going to say, I'm just going to dive in. All right. And she's wonderful. Her voice, all-time voice.
I can't wait for this. Dive in. This is going to be good.
Whitney Houston's Super Bowl national anthem is not the best.
Whoa!
And everybody, like, anytime you talk about this, and we're, a few days away from like talking about the prop bets associated, like the over/under on the time, Whitney Houston's was the best at Super Bowl 25 with the Giants. It wasn't the best. There is a better version that continually gets overlooked. Nobody talks about it. It is so frustrating to me.
And
Super Bowl 39, Houston, Texas, New England Patriots, Carolina Panthers, Beyonce, Queen Bey. She has, I'm a believer that you have to have elements to making the national anthem incredible. All right. It's got to be slow and rising, right? And then it's got to hit.
There's a crescendo that must be met.
There's got to be a crescendo, not just in volume, but in pace, right? Because it's got to pick up your heartbeat a little bit. You've got to show us some players at the beginning that are calm. And then as the national anthem's going on and everyone's realizing this is the biggest moment of my life, you have to show us players getting overwhelmed with emotion, right? So you see that here. You see some Panthers and some Patriots kind of tears welling up. You have to show us the troops. We have to see our hardworking, our sacrificing men and women in the service. We have to see that. And when they're standing at attention, it just like, man, it just hits you, right? But the most essential line that has to be delivered is, "And the Rockets' red glare." If you knock that out of the park, all of a sudden this ride is gone and we're taken off into a different stratosphere. And I would put it to you, watch it, YouTube it. Beyonce, Super Bowl 39. Her line, "And the Rockets' red glare," is better than anyone that you will ever hear. And you can feel your emotion go, "Oh crap, I'm about to cry." Like you can literally feel that happen after you watch the whole thing through. It is wonderful. She's an all-time artist. This was even kind of before she blew up into the level that she's at now. I mean, but it is by far, at the very least, it is a debatable best national anthem at a Super Bowl of all time. But and Whitney's is wonderful as well. And I certainly understand the emotional aspect associated.
There was different that it's hard to even to
totally
measure.
Understand. Again, the Gulf War and everything, like it makes like the national pride associated with it is a very different thing, and I understand that. So, just talking about the elements that I'm discussing, so removing the one that kind of wins it for Whitney, to cater to my point, it is at the very least debatable.
I agree with you completely. But the sum total of the performances, Whitney's was just, you not only were you afraid you were going to cry, you were afraid you weren't going to be able to stop. I mean, that was a moment, man. I mean, we're about to go to war. Those jets fly over and Whitney's singing. Holy cow. Even now, it was truly a moment that only NFL gives the country. Only the NFL gives you that unifying, remarkable moment. And I'll tell you, Beyonce's in Houston was just as huge, but it just didn't have the context that
By the
Whitney
way,
had a better performance, by the way.
I said 39. I meant 38.
Yeah, don't worry. We got it.
Goodness, I mean, it is the best, and the chat completely disagrees with me, which is why this is an apt grievance. Y'all are all wrong. Y'all are all just sheep. You just come along with, oh, Whitney Houston was the best. And you know what else is a grievance of mine? And this is you, Rob. Prince was awesome.
It was.
But not the best Super Bowl halftime show of all time.
But you too
the best one, also wrong. The best one, and this is a grievance of mine, happened at halftime before KJ Wright got to hug his dad and his girlfriend, now wife. It was Bruno Mars at Super Bowl 47 at MetLife Stadium. That is the best showman of a performance that we have ever seen in a Super Bowl halftime show.
You know, it's good to be young and dumb. Ignorance is bliss. Did you just put Bruno Mars up there with the best halftime
He starts
performance?
it all. He does everything. He plays the drums. He dances. And his dancing is not just like swaying. Like he's an athletic marvel in terms of what he's doing and singing at the high pitch. And the Red Hot Chili Peppers make an appearance. I mean, it was an incredible phenomenon. I would also offer that Beyonce's halftime show was better than Prince's. I mean, talk about athletic marvels.
You know how hard it was to dial up Purple Rain while you're going to play Purple Rain? He literally had to call God. You want to talk about organization and preparation.
Sheeps.
Prince played Purple
I think
Rain.
Coca-Cola is the best soda ever.
Rain.
I think McDonald's makes the best hamburgers ever. Y'all are just, again, getting swept up with the whole crowd. Sorry for having an original thought.
I will give you Beyonce. I will listen intently as you describe it. But once you throw Bruno Mars in there and tell me that it was better than that,
it's the cool thing to say Prince. It's the cool thing. Have an original thought.
The best was U2. U2 was by far and away in New Orleans. That was a remarkable, in context, of course.
Yeah, the context is really necessary for U2
but
as
it was still the greatest band that ever was or ever will be. But other than that, Beyonce was great. Timberlake in Minnesota wasn't bad either.
Kevin Dede agrees with me in the chat on Bruno Mars. Thank you very much. Somebody who's willing to think for themselves and not just go along with the list they Googled.
Who was the one?
You sound like LeBron when he's like, "Oh, let me talk about the best tight ends in the NFL."
Kind of like what the Weeknd did in Miami or in Tampa when nobody was there.
I mean, I'm not down with that stuff. Like that's a little bit too much, for me. But Bruno Mars's halftime show and it rises. It's an amazing performance from start to finish, Bruno Mars. And he ends it with Just the Way You Are and the fireworks going off and the superimposed like hologram stuff. It's incredible. And it's in it's not New York, but it's basically in New York. This is Beyonce. Look at the way the Beyonce national anthem starts. She's escorted by a general to the stage.
Yes, it's again a phenomenal, wonderful performance. My question for you is: if you were asked to, and you could sing, would you do the national anthem? That's a tough call. That's the hardest song in the world.
What are you talking about?
I've seen some guys, not turn out very well.
There's been people who forget the songs, who forget the lyrics. I mean, it's a nerve-wracking thing. Like literally, the entire world is watching you. I mean, so. Look at this. This is
and
just
the whole
wonderful...
world is silent and standing really still, staring. At least at halftime, people are getting drinks and kind of dancing around. You screw that, no big deal. This one,
I would also offer what makes Beyonce's great is the orchestra. That you have to have some music. I'm not a fan of it being completely and entirely a cappella, although Whitney definitely killed it. Yes. But I mean, you've got to, and I don't like it when the artist is like playing the piano. You have to have the vulnerability of the artist just standing there by themselves. I mean, there's power and emotion in that.
Is that Jake Delhomme? I think that one.
It is. I said it was the Panthers.
Jake Delhomme and Beyonce. Now
you get an astronaut shot in Houston. Again, this is just as magical.
Now it's not quite to the level of Beyonce or Prince or U2, but I do have tickets to John Michael Montgomery. He's coming to our Pro Center. He will be performing during our rodeo. And if you want to go, 656-3776, 656 ESPN. You too will go see John Michael Montgomery at our rodeo. Make sure you're checking all the things out, and we'll see.
You don't have a grievance. Not one.
This morning, I'm truly racking my brain to find a grievance.
Dude, you suck. Come on, it's called the airing of grievances.
Let's do caller number 3. Let's get it out of the way. Caller number 3. Thanks for going quick on the dial. We'll have more tickets for you tomorrow. My grievances are so petty lately. You had a good one.
Those are the best. What do you mean? Those are the best. We want to hear what gets stuck in your craw.
Okay. I'm having a problem with I've become a guy that I want to go talk to my grocery manager. My store is missing my items, and I've become the guy that's like, I need to talk to somebody about this. How long would you go to? Like, you have one grocery store that you go to, right? It's your H-E-B, your Kroger, whatever it might be. What would make you change? Because I have a particular addiction to Red Diamond sweet tea that if I go without for more than about 12 hours, I'm not a nice person. I don't know what it is. My grocery store has not had it for 3 consecutive days. So finally, I went to find
Rob.
I've become that guy.
You went and complained and said you need to order more.
Should I just take it that they've just decided not to stock the shelves anymore? Like, if you're not going to carry it, I get it.
Do you think that the buyer is going to execute an order for one customer who is there at one random time? I know how the process
works. The manager calls the dude, the other dude calls the dude, and before you know it, they're talking to somebody who goes, oh, well, maybe we should make sure that if this guy over there on the northwest side of town is representative of others, we might want to make sure that 3 consecutive days don't go by before we put in something as delicious as your Red Diamond sweet tea. And it has been that long. It could be 4. I don't know.
I believe in being really polite in situations like that.
I wasn't upset.
But like to bother them that way? I mean, to be like, where's my tea?
To do their job?
What do you mean? They're not doing their job by not. Maybe it's out of stock. Maybe it's out of order. Maybe it's
I found out. So I was like, dude. So what I had to do was I opened the cooler and I could hear the guys in the back like working. I was like, hey, anybody got any of that tea back there? And the guy kind of is looking around the jugs like, what? And I was like, hey, do you have any of the Red Diamond sweet tea? And he's like, hold on. So he come back and he can see her stuff moving. And he goes, no, I think we got shorted on the order. And I was like, well, so when are you going to get it again? Hold on. So he goes back and he's messing around a little bit. He goes, I think tomorrow. So I went back the next day and no Red Diamond. Talked at that point, I had to go to the grocery manager. I didn't get him because I was in a hurry, but I was of a mind to. I was of a mind.
Think, like, do you really think on like, or does part of you, I guess, think that they're going to be like, hey, dude, actually, we have a whole stash back here. We're just hiding it because we don't want you to have it.
Highlighted, like, at least somebody is missing this. And if one guy has come to me, 50 did not. And they might very well go across the street. I do know how the process works. Maybe that guy will make it a point from here on out. Make sure we get the Red Diamond. I don't want to deal with that angry old guy stomping around in the middle of the day asking for tea, bothering my stalkers. Maybe it would work its way up. I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm of the mind to write a strongly worded letter.
This was a poor grievance. I really regret
I
pushing for
agree.
this.
I'm grasping at straws. I'm a happy guy.
What do you mean you're grasping at straws? You don't have anything to put in a cup. You don't have any tea. So what do you need a straw for?
Yeah, I'm stuck drinking another brand that's not nearly as good. Hey, we're just the beginning of a full and exciting sporting day. We have one more day of fun coming. We're going to talk all you require during the day. The Blitz gets going at 2. Greenie's next. And don't forget about Rome on a Vine. We'll see y'all mañana.
It's the Blitz with Jason and Joe. After